Now, your forecast from Fox 56 News, the weather authority.
All right, everybody, we have several storms that we're tracking. Bear with me as the graphics are loading up here. We have some strong storms going through portions of eastern Kentucky. Not severe here, but some stronger storms with heavy rain. And there is new flash flood warnings here that have been extended. It looks like a little farther off to the east. We'll get to the warning map in just a minute. But definitely heavy rain and some flashes of lightning ongoing here, too. Let me turn on my hand tracker so we can move this around for you. Reduced visibility, if I can get out what I'm trying to say there. Reduced visibility expected with this as it continues to work its way off to the east. That's very heavy rain. Let me show you where we have the severe thunderstorm warning right now. This is down to the south, going into Casey County here. That goes till 7:15 this morning. Here is the estimated time of arrival of the strongest portion of the storm. Merrimack community at 6:50, so a couple of minutes from now. You get down to the Chilton community, 6:59. Peyton Store there at 7, down toward eventually Middleburg at 7:12. It's for this portion of the storm right there that's actually on the Marion and Taylor County line, and it's moving east. That's where there is some broad rotation, and not only will this storm into the northern part of Casey County have the potential to produce some winds gusting 60 miles an hour, we could get a quick spin-up tornado. So anybody living in northern part of Casey County, be indoors and stay there until this storm passes. Let me give you another wider view. The line of storms also continues as we work our way just to the south of Lexington. And you can see here, this is not severe, but definitely some stronger, likely heavier rain and some gustier winds going just east of Nicholasville over into Madison County, back down into Garrett County this morning. And then from there, if we do one more reset for you, you'll notice far south and east, there is not a lot. The morning rain and storms departed. Let me switch radar sites out of Jackson. You can see those storms are now well east into West Virginia and also the western portions of Virginia. Several warnings. We'll get to those in just right here. Tornado watch is in effect right now for all of the pink shaded counties, and that goes till 11 o'clock this morning. Also, a new severe thunderstorm warning just came in for Montgomery County till 7:15. And again, we have that warning for Casey County till 7:15. The flood warnings here, these are flash flood warnings. We're looking at flash flood warning that's going to be in place for Montgomery County and Bath County over to Rowan, and then from Powell over to Menifee, Morgan, and Elliott County. That goes until the newest warning expires at 10 a.m. So several warnings to track here. All right, so what's going to happen? We'll continue to see this line of storms march across the state this morning. Into the afternoon, I do expect some drier weather, but by late afternoon and back into the evening, some showers and storms come back. Let me show it to you here on Futurecast. This goes hour by hour. 7:30 this morning. The line of storms, it looks kind of messy on the model, but it's doing a fairly decent job with the placement. That line of storms keeps moving south and east this morning, and by really lunchtime, if not sooner, the severe threat has moved out, and then into the afternoon, we are drier until we get to the evening, and this is the next little batch of some showers and storms I was mentioning that starts to work into southern Kentucky, especially in southeast Kentucky as we go into the evening. And some of that could actually work into central Kentucky too, so we'll have a drier period into portions of the afternoon. And then we'll have that more showers that come in during the evening and night. All right, so severe weather outlook today. You'll notice the green shaded area, level 1 risk. This is the area that stands the best chance to see some of these strong and severe storms. That's this morning through about lunchtime. After lunch, the severe threat ends. The storms that come back in here tonight, showers and storms to the south, those looking more weaker, okay? Instability is much lower. So our morning storms are likely, then some drier time into the afternoon. Some of these storms this morning, absolutely strong and severe. That potential is there. We have that tornado watch till 11 for a lot of the area. Evening showers and storms, but then once those move out, then temperatures get colder and we're dropping into the 30s. 7-day forecast here, you see tomorrow is drier, but then we have a rain chance that comes in by tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, and with some storms in place on Saturday. Sunday, right now, looking drier during after the morning rain chance, and then we get into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there is a chance for rain and snow. All right, both. We'll keep an eye on these storms for you and have another update coming up after the break. Stick around.
Download the Fox 56 Weather Authority app today. From Fox 56 News, the weather authority, this is a severe weather alert.
All right, good morning, everybody. A new tornado warning, the first one of the morning, issued for that storm we were tracking in Casey County. I mentioned that a quick spin-up tornado could happen relatively quickly with that area of rotation. It's north of Liberty. So here we are. Here's the city of Liberty. You're not included in this tornado warning. When does that tornado warning expire? 7:15. So it's for a fast-moving storm that's rolling east, and here it is. You can see the area of purple there. That's where obviously we could have some very heavy rain, even some hail is possible. But our main concern obviously is with the potential for a tornado. Let's look inside at the velocity. This is where we search for the winds inside the storm and where there could be a possible tornado right here in the northern part of Casey County. So I said outside of Liberty, it does not include Liberty. This is going to pass north of the county seat there. It's going to be going up here across some of these smaller communities I mentioned earlier, right near Jacktown, Chilton, Peyton Store, Ellisburg, over eventually to Houstonville, and north of Beach Bottom. You see our new little twisting of the wind signature here? That's where the radar flags, where it sees that there is rotation. We don't have any confirmation that a tornado is on the ground, but we do have rotation that is indicating on the radar that, yes, there is a potential for one to touch down at any point. So what you need to do if you live here anywhere in these communities that I called out, northern part of Casey County, you need to go to the lowest floor of your home. That's a basement for some of you. Some of you, it's just that first floor, okay? Interior room, away from windows, and stay there until we give you the all clear, okay? Until we give you the all clear. Turn up your TV so you can hear us and go to your safe place right now if you're in Casey County. That way you can hear us, or you can take your phone with us and watch our live stream. We're going to be live streaming that over on our Facebook page. Our web producer will work with them to make sure that we have our severe weather live stream up so you can watch us. So we're watching this going east, and then next in line is going to be over into the southern portions or western portions of Lincoln County. So you're also included in that warning. Lincoln and Casey County until 7:15, a tornado warning. And the rotation is back here, as we just told you, moving into the northern part of the county. Let me give you some roads here. This is going to be crossing, a potential tornado is going to be crossing Shucks Creek Road. That would be crossing over the Brush Creek Road area. And right now, that rotation, again, this will get a new updated scan, but it's now likely over Shucks Creek Road, and it'll be going over toward the Brush Creek Road area. All right, and then it's going to be going over 127, which takes us right here into the extreme northeastern portions of Casey County. Then that would be crossing the county line and going into Lincoln County. So New Salem, even into the Middleburg area. I'm seeing this is kind of moving a little more down to the east-southeast. You see here, this is back where the rotation still is, and it's moving eastbound. Let me put a storm track on this. I want to see how fast the storm is moving. Our radar is showing this right here, giving you some estimated times of arrival. Chilton, it's on top of you right now, okay? You need to be in your safe spot. So the fastest that we can get to you, Ellisburg, 7:04. You only got a couple of minutes here for that rotation, that potential tornado to move in. Houstonville, 7:11. Middleburg, 7:12. Moreland, 7:12. You see a lot of small communities here down toward the New Salem area at 7:14 and Geneva at 7:15. So that's when we're crossing over out of Casey into Lincoln County. So all these communities, Lincoln and back into Casey County, you need to be in your safe place right now. Now, you'll look here, and these look like probably strange numbers to some of you, but a BTI, that is what we have called our Barron Tornado Index. The higher that number goes, and it goes on a scale, typically at the highest, 10 or 11, the higher that number goes, the greater the chance that there is for a tornado. 4.1, not terribly high, but still something that grabs our attention. Let me clear all this off because we have a lot on here, and we'll give you a quick little reset because we have some other storms that are ongoing up to the north that are rolling their way right now through portions of Montgomery County, and that's a severe thunderstorm. Let me switch over one more thing here. I want to look at a different product. You'll see how tiny this little polygon is. That's the area. The reason the Weather Service draws that so tiny is because they're focusing on the area where clearly the best chance is for a tornado. Let me look at our shear product. You can see right here, this is an indication of where the radar looks for rotation, a rotation detector, and what it thinks and where it thinks that there could be some rotation. It says weak. That doesn't mean that there still can't be a tornado. That just means that it may not be as strong as what it could be, okay? But still, any tornado, whether it's a weak one or a small one or large one, whatever, it still can obviously do damage. So stay indoors until obviously, and away from windows. Don't be looking out your window. I know that's our human nature. We want to see what's happening. What's it look like outside? Well, even if we don't have a tornado, we have winds that potentially could go up 60 miles per hour, and that could bring down trees and could bring down power lines, and then that could hit your windows. And we don't want you anywhere near a window at your home right now down here into Casey and into Lincoln County. Let me go back, though, on the home view because I want to look to make sure we don't have any other tornado warnings. That's the only tornado warning, but we do have a severe thunderstorm warning here, and there is showing a little rotation near Frenchburg on that particular storm too. Let me give you a quick little look at the radar picture. Torrential rain, maybe for sure some winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour in Frenchburg and in Menifee County. This is going over also into portions of Morgan County, but the strongest part of that is right here in Menifee County where there's a severe thunderstorm warning till 7:15. So there's only 14 minutes left on that because the storm's moving relatively quickly. We can put a track on this for you. It's rolling east here. Give you an estimated time of arrival for this storm. Frenchburg, it's now, obviously. It's going to be over toward Wellington at 7:07, Scranton at 7:07, going down eventually to Artville 7:10 and the Dan community at 7:10. So that, as it holds together, will move into deeper portions of Morgan County, and it's going to keep working its way off to the east with this entire line. So that's the one severe thunderstorm warning there. As we reset here, clear all this off and show you that back down to the south, yes, only one tornado warning. And I'm going to check in here with the National Weather Service to see if we have any reports out of this. But again, Casey County, the northern part of the county, and over into western portions of Lincoln County, there is a tornado warning, and that goes until 7:15. It's for very small real estate. It does not include the city of Liberty at all. Looking here, no reports right now from the National Weather Service of anything confirmed, anything on the ground. But we want to treat this as if there could be at any point because it's still early in the morning. People are still sleeping. And it takes a while sometimes for damage reports to come in. All right, let's hope there's no damage reports. We don't have any reports out there right now. I can turn on our reports, the little eye sensor here, not seeing any showing up, but definitely something that we will keep an eye on. Let me switch back over to the wind product. This is where we look inside the thunderstorm to see where there could be twisting of the winds, or as we would call it, rotation. All right, right here. You see, we lost our twisting of the wind signature. All right, that's just our radar's indication. It flags a storm that it sees is rotating. It says, okay, there's potential tornado here. Just because it drops off doesn't mean that we still could not get a tornado. What's happening is it thinks that the rotation is weak enough or is weakening. That's why we lost that little spinny signature there. But we still do have some rotation. I'll draw it for you right here where the reds and the greens come together. That's in the northern part of Casey County. So let me zoom in where I've circled and I'll show you some of the roadways here. All right, so we're looking at, this is east of Long Hollow Road. This is B. Russell Road, just south of there, and Long Branch Road. So anywhere between Old Liberty Road, Long Branch Road, and 127 running through the northeastern portion of Casey County. And then eventually it would cross over toward Mount Salem. And then we can put on some more roads here into the western part of Lincoln County here. Let me clear this off. I got my drawing tool. I want to move east, throw on some more roads here for you. It's going to be going toward Mount Salem and eventually would hold together and go toward McKinney. The McKinney community, that's over in Lincoln County. Here's Russell Baird Road. So this is a smaller road, but this is in western Lincoln County. That's where it's going to be going next. If there's still a tornado, that's where it would be. Okay, so we can put another track on that, and this is going to give you some estimated times of arrival, okay? So it's going to be within a minute or so of when that's going to be moving in your area. There's some of the communities I just called out. Mount Salem, it's saying, our radar is telling us about 7:10. I think it's going to be faster than that. So we're talking about only a few minutes now, less than about 5 minutes or so. Then we're going to see this move off to the east here and keep rolling east. I am seeing that this has gotten weaker, a little broader. If you have a tornado, usually you're going to be watching for those reds and greens being really tight and really bright shades of both colors. And that's usually a good or a better indication that we could have a tornado. But still, there is rotation here, and they're keeping the warning going. It may get extended. We're going to see if they extend that deeper into Lincoln County. But even people as close by, as far north here as Stanford, even though you're not in the warning as it stands right now, I would go ahead and obviously stay inside. You don't want to be driving out here. I know we're going to work, we're going to school. Right now it's that time in the morning. People are out that morning commute. It's the worst time that we could obviously get this line of storms to come on through here. If you are about to head out, I would avoid doing it if you absolutely can. You need to stay home and inside and don't want to be driving as this storm is going out of Casey and into Lincoln County right now. Stanford, you're not dealing with anything much yet in terms of rotation. Let me go back to the standard radar picture so you can see we do have heavy rain there, but in terms of where we would see stronger winds or a potential tornado, it's not to Stanford yet. It's still right here on the county line, Casey, Lincoln County line, and approaching Houstonville and the Mount Salem community. It's going to be going due east here. It's moving due east. So let me get the forward movement on that storm from the National Weather Service here on that tornado warning. I'll just read it to you here. Looks like they will allow it to expire. Or they did. Tornado warning for southeastern, that's a different warning. Sorry, there's another tornado warning back into the western portions of Kentucky. We'll also watch that though too. The warning that was in effect for Marion County, you've been trimmed out of this. So all we have left right now is still this sliver of the warning that includes Casey and Lincoln County till 7:15. Not seeing anything from the Weather Service still yet. We're watching that very closely, but still, let me go back inside the storm. I want to look at a couple of radars because we're really in between zones of both of the radars, one in Jackson and one in Louisville. So we're sandwiched in between here, the location in Casey and Lincoln County. So sometimes it gets a little harder for the radar to be able to see this, but right here, again, same spot, there is some broad rotation, not as intense as it was, but it's right on the county line. So everybody still anywhere from Houstonville to Mount Salem, even east, I would take this ongoing toward the McKinney community. Here's some smaller areas. Even though they've not extended the warning yet, they probably will just because of this, the history of this storm. New Salem, Mount Salem, McKinney, Geneva, South Fork, going over toward Goodpasture Road. This is going to be over toward Martin's Trail, looks like, over toward the Jumbo community, Miracle. Again, if you live in Lincoln County or been through there, you know these smaller communities, okay? You know what we're talking about when we call these out. These are moving, this little area of rotation still moving due east right into Lincoln County. So friends watching us right now in Casey County, even though the back edge of the warning has not cleared Casey County yet, I'm giving you the clear from the rotation at least as we work our way back into northern Casey County. Yes, it is still raining heavily, and yes, we still have some lightning with this. Let me turn that back on. We still have back into northern Casey County, but the rotation has exited Peyton Store, it's exited the Chilton area, and it's moved east. It's moved east of even Ellisburg. We'll likely get the updated polygon drawn in just a moment. Now, something else that we often look for when there is a potential tornado, sometimes an indicator of rotation can be where you see an uptick in lightning. Okay, so we have a greater concentration of lightning. That often can be an indication of greater updraft ongoing here in the western part of Lincoln County. So that really kind of lines up. If we go back to the velocity picture, look what's happening right there. Where the greatest concentration of lightning is where we still have some rotation. Right here. So that's Houstonville, that's Mount Salem, that's McKinney, that's Geneva, that's South Fork, Jumbo, Halls Gap, Highland Community, over toward, I mentioned Halls Gap, Highland, Sugar Grove, Ottenheim. You're next, okay? You only have a few minutes. probably 5-10 minutes at the most, all right? So everybody in Lincoln County from, let's just say, Stanford, all the way over to Crab Orchard and down to the south. Greatest rotation is going to cross just south of Stanford toward Crab Orchard. So you need to be lowest floor of your home, interior room, away from windows. I often go over this with kids at school. We talk about what we call the duck method, okay? Each letter of that represents a different meaning. Down, under, center, and the K means keep away. Keep away from what? Windows, the outside of your home. Interior room. So a new update you just saw come in here. A severe thunderstorm warning has now replaced where that tornado warning was, okay? Likely because the rotation, according to the National Weather Service, the intensity of that gone down a bit. But they've likely issued that with what we call a tornado possible tag. Let me check it out. I want to double check that, but I think that's probably what they've likely gone with this new severe thunderstorm warning. Let me read that to you. Yes, they've gone with what they call a TOR tag. And what that means for you is it just means that, yes, this storm has a capability of producing damaging wind gusts up to 60, maybe even some large hail for sure, heavy rain, and again, torrential rain and a lot of lightning. But a tornado possible means that the rotation, they think it's weakened just a bit, but it could spin up fast enough along this line that a tornado is possible at any point. So I'm going to stay with this because I still see a broad enough rotation. We're going to treat it as if it still is a tornado. Right on top of the communities that I called out, McKinney, Geneva, Jumbo, Highland, Halls Gap, over toward Maywood, Crab Orchard. You just saw the polygon there drop off, or at least the storm track drop off, but it's still going through those communities, all right? And that's going to be moving off to the east. So where is the strongest winds and the potential tornado right now? Right here in the western part of Lincoln County. So McKinney and Geneva right in here. New Salem, South Fork, Houstonville, likely gusty winds for sure. Mount Salem as well, and that uptick in lightning. Let me widen out because I want to watch anywhere along this line of storms. We could potentially today get some spin-up tornadoes. That's why they put that tornado possible tag. Let me go back to our radar view. Some severe storms back to the west of Campbellsville. Looking eastbound here, upstream, this line of storms was going through eastern Kentucky. And right now, looks like we do still have a severe flash flood warning, that severe thunderstorm warning. You can barely see it right here. That was from Frenchburg. That's now over into Morgan County. Now, they did not issue a severe thunderstorm warning for this, but this is still packing a punch. It's impactful, okay? That's all that matters to you. It's impactful to your morning drive. Sandy Hook. Just north of West Liberty here is where the heaviest rain is. That's in the northern part of Morgan County. Then it goes back to the west and we go into Menifee County, some heavy rain, some flashes of lightning, nothing severe anymore here. That storm has moved out of your area, at least the severe part. We go south and west and we go into Estill County and western portions of Powell County, west of Stanton, north of Irvin here, a strong thunderstorm. We roll back over into, this is going to be back over into Madison County, south of Richmond, some heavier rain, but the storm so far of the hour and of the morning is the one to the south because it's where the only one at the moment where we have a warning, okay? That means that would be the one that would have the most impact or potential impact. This storm going through the heart of Lincoln County. Casey County, I know you still see yourself drawn in this polygon right here for a tornado warning, but I'm going to tell you, it does expire here in a couple minutes, but the rotation with that has moved out. This is what would be left of what spawned a tornado warning, and that's just east of Houstonville. There's some broad rotation here along the line into Casey, but they've not issued a warning for that. I'll watch that closely. Likely some gusty winds coming into Liberty and just off to the northeast. Let me zoom in a little bit closer here. Give you some smaller communities. Middleburg, Yosemite, over toward Duncan, Walltown. Likely still some gusty winds here, but likely not at least what it was earlier, okay? So stay indoors there too. Let's look up here. This is the part of the storm, though, that is still severe. The latest scan came in on the radar, and we're seeing an uptick in intensity on this. So where we have more reds and greens next to each other, right there together, and they are brighter shades of both. So that's kind of uptick, meaning that one, stronger winds are inside of this storm at the moment, meaning likely still could produce some damaging straight line winds, but we could still also have a spin up tornado at any point right here in the heart of Lincoln County. This is passing, this will pass this rotation, all right, and the strongest part of the storm is passing south of Stanford. Let me zoom back out. There's Stanford right here, okay? County seat, here's Crab Orchard. It's moving east toward Crab Orchard. You're in the severe thunderstorm warning. Stanford is not. This is going to ride right along. As you can see here, I'm going to put on some of the roads. We'll zoom in a little bit closer and get some of these on here. It's going to be going over toward Shake Rag Road, going through the Highland community. This is going up and along. I'm trying to get the main highway to populate here that's going north and south out of Stanford here. That'll be rolling its way off to the east. This is 78 to the north, but the strongest rotation is going to be crossing right here. All right, so it's near Jumbo right now, and it's going toward Highland. You saw our little twisting of the wind signature came back. So that's the radar again indicating, all right, hey, we have the potential, yep, still not for just rotation, but we could have a tornado here. Thankfully, again, still no damage reports along this line. That would show up here on our radar, but definitely lots of lightning and torrential rainfall, and yes, the capability of seeing a tornado. All right, so everybody still here in the heart of Lincoln County needs to stay away from windows, lowest floor of your home. Basement's the best place, all right? But if you don't have that, lowest floor, interior room, away from windows. Now, what about, I'll get this question, what about your bathroom? If your bathroom have windows, do not go to the bathroom. Find an ulterior room, all right? Another room, all right? A closet, hallway, an interior room away from windows. You don't want any windows in the room that you're seeking shelter in at all, okay? Because that wind or a potential tornado could blow out the glass in your window. So right along here, Highland over to Ottenheim. Let me get a new storm track on this because I want to put some smaller communities in this. Let me see how fast this movement on the forward movement of this storm is. It's moving east at 45. Has capability of producing some winds, gusting to 60 miles an hour. Obviously, heavy rain and frequent flashes of lightning. Look, we have a new storm track here that just popped up right there. So this is where the radar gives us some information. We have a tornado index of a 2.7. That's low, but that doesn't mean that we still couldn't get one. It's just something that we look at kind of behind the scenes, that it gives us an indication. The higher that number, the better the chance is that there could be a tornado. All right, but Highland 7, it's on you right now. We've been calling out Highland for the last 30 minutes. I was giving you a bunch of lead time there. Halls Gap 722, 725 Sugar Grove. You work your way down the list here. I've been also mentioning Crab Orchard, 728. And then Gum Sulphur, that's going to be 730. So we're soon going to be crossing out of Lincoln County, and we'll be working our way off to the east into Rockcastle County. That's where Gum Sulphur and Broadhead is, and the Ottawa area and the Wiley communities, okay? That's where this potential tornado would keep tracking. It's been holding its own here. We've seen some fluctuations, and you often will, in intensity with these storms as they move over time. Sometimes they're going to weaken, sometimes they'll intensify again. And we've kind of seen that bit of an uptick in intensity right on top of Highland here, and we'll get a new updated scan momentarily. Let me switch here. I want to look. All right, so it's still placing it in the same place. What I did is I'm looking at a different radar. We're looking now at the one out of Louisville. So this has given us two different vantage points. Two eyes, so let's say two radars, two eyes, better than just the one, all right? All right, right here still on top of the Highland area, and it's moving east toward Crab Orchard, right here. Let me go back the radar that's going to be looking into the storm as it moves east. And there it is, right on Highland and Ottenheim. There are those estimated time of arrival. I saw the BTIs drop to a 2.5. It was at 2.7. It's a sign that, all right, there's that fluctuation again, a little bit weaker. But still, for sure, the potential exists for winds gusting to 60 miles per hour, even if there's not a tornado. All right, 60-mile-per-hour winds can do damage. All right, can bring down trees, can bring down power lines, can pick up objects, trampolines, patio furniture, things like that, and pick it up, and that's obviously just a flying debris can create damage. We don't want that, but it's a possibility, all right? Right here is still where we have that rotation. Let me show you something else here. Hail, are we concerned about that? Not as much. About hail maybe to the size of a ½ inch. So severe hail is 1 inch in diameter, which is the size of quarters. All right, so you're talking about ½ inch, you're gonna be getting closer to nickel size or dime size. That's possible. The main concern out of this obviously is going to be for the potential for some winds. You can see here 63-mile-per-hour shears, so a severe thunderstorm wind gust is 58 miles per hour stronger. So absolutely, the biggest concern is still for strong damaging winds, but we could also get a quick spin-up tornado out of this. Let me clear this all off for you. Things look a little messy on here. We'll do a little reset for everybody that's just tuning in. I want to look a little farther north to see if we have any more warnings up here. No, flash flood warnings, yes, and we need to treat that seriously because Powell County schools were out today because some of the secondary roads were covered with water, all right? That may still be happening because we've had some additional rain that's moved back in. Look, we've actually had some flooding reports over there. Flash flood at Clay City, that was at 5:35 this morning. All right, and then we also had another report here out of Clay City. That was at 5:22. So those areas have been dealing with overnight into this morning some very heavy rain that has led to, unfortunately, some flooding there. But the storm of the hour in the morning still is this one that's going now into Lincoln County. Casey County, you are clear of any, at least at the moment, of any potential rotation. Yes, there is a thunderstorm coming near Liberty and just north of there, but it is not to the degree that it is even severe. From what I've seen, I see, yes, still some gusty winds. Let's look back in there. Yeah, still some gustier winds here, but not severe, okay? The only one that is severe and that could still spin up a tornado would be this particular storm that's still going through Casey. This is Lincoln County, sorry. So here's Stanford. All right, so it's south of there. Where we have the reds and the greens coming together is where for sure we have some rotation. It's a little broader than it was, meaning that it's not as tight together, but it still is producing some strong winds, potentially damaging to 60 miles an hour, and maybe a spin-up tornado that would be crossing into Ottenheim now. If we have a tornado, that's where it would be. If we don't have a tornado, it still is going to likely be producing some winds that could do some damage in this same area. 60 miles an hour or stronger. Ottenheim, Sugar Grove, Broughtontown, forgive me if I mispronounced that, Dog Walk, Turkeytown, Gulm Sulphur. New warning just issued now over, as I mentioned a moment ago, it would likely be extended into Rockcastle County. Severe thunderstorm warning there until 7:45. They likely have also put a tornado possible tag on that too. Let me read the new warning that just came in on that to you here. Let's see, new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be for Casey County. That was canceled. All right. The new severe thunderstorm warning for Rockcastle County. That, bear with me as I switch between National Weather Service offices. Laurel, Pulaski, Jackson, and Rockcastle till 7:45. Now again, it's not all of those counties. Really the greatest concentration is into Rockcastle County, and then it'll be moving east. Winds gusting to 60. At 7:20, so just a couple minutes ago, a severe thunderstorm was located near Lick, or 14 miles west of Mount Vernon, moving east at 50. All right, so on that track here, what we'll do is I'm going to put a track on where we have at least some broad rotation and for sure capability of producing damaging winds. You notice they still have not gone with the tornado warning, but I'm staying with this. We're in our news here. And the reason I'm staying with it is because this storm has kind of gone through phases where it's gotten a little weaker and then it's intensified again. And we want to give our viewers that are here just the utmost attention, especially since there still is the potential for a spin-up tornado, meaning that, yes, one could happen quickly. This type of scenario, this type of weather pattern that we're in today, when you get a line of storms like this, you can get spin-up tornadoes along those lines that happen fast, and they're usually short-lived. So that's why we're going to keep watching this, and they've put that tornado possible tag. So let's do a new track here. It's moving east at 50. So right where we have that greatest, at least bit of rotation, even though it's not terribly strong, it's still strong enough that it is bearing potential for some damaging winds and a spin-up tornado. So the estimated time that that line, that portion, that strongest portion of the storm that's severe, Turkey Town 727, Gulm Sulphur, it's pretty much there within the next couple of minutes too, near 729. It's 724 right now. Roundstone 738, Wildey 739, Burr 740, Hummel 740, Flat Rock 742. So that storm just keeps on rolling off to the east. Thankfully, though, we still haven't got any reports back off to the west. I do have those turned on, but that's good. The less that we see there, the better. All right, but it still doesn't mean that this storm is not or does not have the capability of producing damaging winds. It does. That's why we still have the warning. Sometimes the reports come in delayed because people are inside. Let's zoom back out here. I'm going to take you up to the storm that's ongoing up to the north. Yep, not severe up here, but definitely still impactful. I wanted to revisit this part of the state because I know some of you are still watching this up here as well into West Liberty, Sandy Hook, back down to Frenchburg, Stanton, and Irvin. Now this is a gustier storm that's coming through Powell County and portions of Estill County. Heavy rain, flashes of lightning, same with that storm that's into West Liberty. But at least right now, those are below severe thresholds. Back into Madison County, south of Richmond here, along 25 and along I-75 down toward Berea, you're going to pick up with the intensity of the rain and even some gustier winds. But the strongest and the only severe storm that we have at the moment is this one that's coming through now eastern and southern parts of Lincoln County, and it's going to be crossing and will any moment here into Rockcastle County. So Rockcastle County, severe thunderstorm warning till 7:45, and also severe thunderstorm warning back over into Lincoln County till 7:45. But it will exit Lincoln County before 7:45 happens. All right, lots of lightning here associated with that storm. I want to go back again. Let's look at a couple of other products that we have here. And what I want to do with this is going to show you the hour. Let me go back over the last 1 hour, and this shows the trend, okay? Look here. See how this rotation with this storm went look at this, all the way back over to Litchfield and worked its way east. So it's been in a steady zone here from back into Marion and Taylor counties, worked its way east, over into northern Casey County, through Lincoln County, and this is where we are at our present time. As I switch you back over to what the rotation looks like now, there's a lot of lightning. Let me turn that off so you can see it a little clearer. See that little patch of some green there? It's where the radar still is looking at some weak rotation. That's going to be crossing right along here into just very close to Crab Orchard and points to the south. So Dog Walk, Turkey Town, Broughton Town. This is going to be going, let me throw on some of these other smaller roads that you see here. Simpson Road, as we kind of pan this off to the east. Looks like Tarkin Road as we go over into Rockcastle County and heading over toward the Ottawa area. Let's see, look at some of these other roads. Bear with me as I try to read some of these. Brown Road up to the north. There's Broadhead Road, and here's the Broadhead community. You're included in that severe thunderstorm warning. Again, severe thunderstorm warning is what we're tracking now, but the reason we've been watching this is because this storm has had the history of producing some rotation. We've not had any reports that there have been a tornado at all, thankfully. Doesn't mean that one didn't spin up somewhere along the way in here, or that there's not one that could spin up, okay? If we do have a tornado still, it'd be right here in this zone. So this is going to be still as we work our way out of, this is going to be back over into Lincoln County, and here's Casey County. And here's Rockcastle County, excuse me. All right, let me clear that off and we'll go back so I can reposition the radar back off to the north. That's going to show you where we have our greatest area right now of where we could possibly still have a tornado. It's going to be here coming out of Crab Orchard. So this is 150, and 150 goes out of Crab Orchard and eventually goes down to Broadhead. So along 150, US 150, between Crab Orchard and down into Broadhead, everybody in that portion of either Lincoln County or over into Rockcastle County, over into Mount Vernon, all need to be indoors away from windows until this storm does pass by. Let me widen it back out because I want to show you back to the west. This storm has, at least the strongest portion of it has moved. It's cleared out of the Houstonville area. I know we were talking about you earlier. So you're in the clear of at least damaging winds right now. Houstonville, you are. So is Stanford. So is even Highland and Halls Gap and Miracle and Jumbo. Even Ottenheim, the strongest portion of this storm is just east of you, okay? But anywhere west of Ottenheim, back over to Highland and Miracle and Halls Gap, you're clear of the severe potential, all right? So you can come out of your safe spot there. We roll east, and here's a little wider view. Still broad rotation, which is why the Weather Service has kept this going with likely a severe thunderstorm warning and the potential that maybe there could be a quick spin-up tornado along this line. So anybody from Crab Orchard, I mentioned again to Broadhead to Mount Vernon, needs to be into the lowest floor of your home and stay there until we give you the all clear. I just gave people back to the west there, portions of Lincoln County, the all clear. Let me put a new track on this. Let me switch sides of the screen. Give you a little lead time here on where this storm is going. It's moving east at 50, so at that pace, it'll be eventually outrunning the warning and go more over into Jackson County. And I know that you probably got the alert on the Fox 56 weather app and on your phone that portions of far northern Pulaski County was included in this warning, but I'm telling you that this is not where right now the strongest or more severe portion of the line is located. That's coming right out of Lincoln County, right on the Lincoln and Rockcastle County line. And it does move east. And I know that they also included portions of Laurel County in this and even into western Jackson County in this. Really, this is going to likely miss northern parts of Laurel County. It's likely going to be crossing its way east, and it's going to go toward Broadhead and Mount Vernon, Hummel, Orlando, Cooksburg, and then over toward Dango and Hurley, and that's going to be taken eventually closer toward getting into portions, the central portions of Jackson County. So the times that it'll be arriving, or at least estimated very close to this, is going to be right here, 7:34 in Broadhead, Renfro Valley, 7:39. A lot of people know Renfro Valley that are from here or love music, especially country music, all right? Mount Vernon, 7:39. Roundstone, 7:41. Burr, 7:42. Hummel, 7:42. Flat Rock at 7:43. And same story, Orlando, Pine Hill, about the same, about 7:45. Starting to see kind of intensify again. A little uptick in intensity right along this line of storms. Again, severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. All that means is, yep, that we could quickly along this line get a spin-up tornado to happen. And with that uptick intensity, it's good that we've obviously stayed with this and continue to track that. I want to clear this all off here. Bear with me. There's multiple boxes. See how this is right up toward Broadhead. See how we're starting to get the greens and the reds closer together again? And we're getting brighter shades of red and brighter pixels of green, meaning that the winds are beginning to intensify a bit here, right as it approaches Broadhead. So even if there's not a tornado, we likely have winds that are on the order of 50, 60, maybe 65 miles an hour. But for sure, we could get gusts over 50 with this portion of the line, all right, that's coming into Broadhead, enough that obviously can create travel troubles as people are out to work and kids are on the way out to school this morning. And again, we don't want any severe weather pushing through during the heart of the morning commute, but that definitely is what we have, unfortunately. Right along 150, I've been calling out 150 for quite a while. Here's I-75. This is going to cross I-75 here within the next 10, 15 minutes. Likely passes just north of Mount Vernon, but there will be a wall of water that for sure is going going to be crossing and some gusty winds that crosses right along 75. And that's what's happening now. There is torrential rain that's out ahead. What I was showing you there is where the strongest winds are and where there a potential tornado could be. This is the radar portion of it where we're looking at rainfall, precipitation, all right? Right along this, I mean, it is just torrential rain and a lot of lightning. Let's flip that back on to see where the greatest concentration of lightning is. I talked about this earlier. Uptick in amount of lightning strikes. That portion of the storm is often an indication, or it can be, where the storm is at its most intense, and that's right where we have our strongest winds that could be gusting up to 60 miles an hour. Right there, you still see some, what we're doing here is showing you just a different vantage point of the velocity, all right, or the winds, all right, it's what we're looking at. The green shades are the winds that are moving toward the radar, and we're looking out of Jackson. And then the blues here are the winds that are moving away from the radar, all right? But let's look at storm relative. So this is going to give us a better indication with the forward movement. All right, Lincoln County and Casey County are out of the warning. No severe thunderstorm warning there any longer. So Casey and Lincoln, yep, it still is storming there because you see the flashes of lightning. But this is not severe, all right? So Casey and Lincoln, nothing severe right now. It's moved out. They have trimmed that portion of the line back to here, right along this line, coming into Broadhead right now. It's on top of Broadhead, and it's right here on the doorstep of Mount Vernon. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning till 7:45. So we've got about 10 minutes. They may extend this eastbound too, but right now, this is where they've drawn it, and it does include portions of Jackson County. Not quite to McKee, but this is the strongest portion of the storm at the moment. We're going to keep watching that. Again, seeing a bit of an uptick in the winds here up and right on top of Broadhead. So there could be a spin-up tornado in that portion of the storm right here. Even if there's not, there is the greatest potential right here for damaging winds. All right, so stay away from windows, lowest floor of your home, interior room, away from those windows as I just mentioned. Usually it's a bathroom, sometimes it's not a bathroom, sometimes it's a closet or interior room like a hallway. All right, let's look here a little bit closer. This is going to be crossing over I-75 within, I mentioned, the next 10 minutes or so. We have our storm tracks on, not showing up anything on that. That's good. I've not had any damage reports. Let me actually check that. The National Weather Service here. There are partners, obviously, they give us information about whether they've had any damage reports because we're in constant contact, but not just with them, but with area emergency managers. I'm not seeing anything. Let's see. Bear with me for just a second. This was back in Hardin County, so that's not obviously in our viewing area. That's back just south of Louisville over toward the Elizabethtown area. Let's see here. All right, so only warning that we have right now is still this severe thunderstorm warning that's for Rockcastle County here, moving into the heart of the county. So some very strong winds, 50, 60 miles an hour, right here in the heart of the county. So here's Broadhead, here's looks like Merrittburg, this is Mount Vernon, Renfro Valley. It's going to be crossing right here. So from Mount Vernon northward in Rockcastle County is where we have our strongest winds. Now, yeah, there still are strong winds to the south of that though. Spiro, working your way down toward the Level Green community, back over toward Walnut Grove even. So there are still some strong winds on this portion of the line and potentially could even have winds here that are on the order of 50 plus, as I mentioned too. But the strongest is up to the north. Let's pixel some of these winds. This is again showing in terms of the direction away from the radar. So it may not be the best indication, but for sure we do have winds that are likely along that 40 plus, but up to the north 50 plus, and could even have some 60 mile per hour gusts here. The winds have, at least the rotation, the bit that's left, has definitely become more broad. I'll put another little track on this for you as it keeps moving off to the east for our friends that'll be watching over in Jackson County, because that's where it would be going next. Leading edge of this here, off to the east at about 50. So It's really only a couple of minutes away, at least the strongest portion of the storm from Wildey, 744, toward Hummel, Orlando at 746. Working our way over toward, looks like Cooksburg, 751, down toward Janetta at 751, Eglon at 755, and towards Sandgap at 758. I'm going to reset here, give you a quick little home view of what's happening across our entire area. They have kept that tornado possible tag going with this warning down that's coming out of, well, it's going through Rockcastle County right now. It also includes Jackson County till 7:45. No other severe thunderstorm warnings yet, okay? Well, looks, as soon as I said that, one just actually came up into eastern Kentucky. So we'll go there and take a quick look at that storm, give you a little inspection of what's happening in the eastern part of the state. This is going to be heading over into this morning into portions of Johnson County, severe thunderstorm there, severe thunderstorm back over into Morgan County, and extreme northern portions of Magoffin County. It does not include Salyersville, and it's for this part of the line. You can see it. It definitely stands out here. The brighter shades of green right here is where we could have some straight line winds on the order of 50, 60 miles an hour. Could gust up to 60. And that's going to be pushing east. So it would come very close to Paintsville. You're included in this. Definitely some torrential rain, but the greatest concern here would be for potential damaging wind gusts that'd be rolling out of Morgan County. It's in the eastern part of the county there right now. And then working its way from the Mima community, Silver Hill, over to Mine Fork, Gray Fox, Lacey communities, over toward Elna, Redbush, over further deeper here toward Volga, Kurz, Sitka, and Manila. That would be all coming there. This is eventually now working out of Morgan County into Johnson County. All right, so that's that storm. Big picture again, back to the northwest here in Lexington, and Paris, and Georgetown, and Cynthiana, and Carlisle. We're done, okay? Frankfort, Lawrenceburg, Danville even, Lancaster, you're done. Lawrenceburg, Versailles, all those communities, you're done. The storms are to the south and east of you. All right, and this is where it's at. It's right on top of Mount Vernon now, Renfro Valley. It's going to be going east. You can kind of see how this line is bowing a bit there. It's kind of has a bit of a backward shaped C to it, look to it. I can just highlight that for you like this. See how that has that bit of a shape, backward shaped C? This is bowing out. That's usually an indication to us that this storm has the capability of producing some damaging straight line winds. And we can line that up. Check it out. Right here, there's likely for sure winds that are gusting up close to 60 miles per hour there, moving out of Mount Vernon. Let me look at the Mesonet network. I'm going to pull that up off the screen because we have weather stations that are in this part of the state, and I want to see what some of the peak wind gusts have been as it's been going through. The strongest gust down here, but this is north of where the strongest storm has been. It's in the far northern part of Lincoln County. So it missed the storm that was in the southern part of the county earlier. So not seeing any at least reports there. So we're looking at every bit of data that we have here to give it to you. This is right where we would have, again, potential for damaging winds. On top of Mount Vernon at the moment, frequent flashes of lightning there too, torrential rain. This is going to be definitely blinding rainfall on I-75 all the way through pretty much. That's going to be going through most of Rockcastle County. Now, when you get further south here, you start to run out ahead of the rain. Okay, and you can actually see that there as you get down toward Livingston, but it won't stay that way because that bit of rain and obviously storm activity is moving due east at 50, so that's moving fast. That's fast mover, okay? Down to the south, London, you're still dry. Anvil, some lighter showers, but McKee, rain's picking up. That's not the most intense part. Most intense part of the storm is still back to your west here, right on top of Mount Vernon, and it's really still, if we go back in, heavy rain, still likely some gusty winds going through Brodhead, but it's not like it was. Let me look inside. This takes us back again, the intensity of the rotation on its track. It went through Lincoln County, and now any bit of rotation, even though it's weaker, is still running right into Mount Vernon as we speak, all right? So that's where we could still have maybe a quick spin-up tornado. I really think we're going more and have transition for the moment to a primary damaging wind for a threat out of this, and it's been that way over the last few minutes, but let me go back to the radar. That still, I want to stress that still is enough that can do damage, all right? Damaging wind, 60 miles an hour. That can bring down your trees or do other damage that we don't want. All right, let me look here all across this line. The southern portion of the line back to the west looks like it may have weakened a bit. Let's look here. The reason we're looking back here is because this whole part of the line still has to cross down toward Lake Cumberland and work its way across the state as the morning hours wear on. To the north here, as we go back to the radar out of Jackson, you could still see some pretty intense storms going through portions of Johnson County now, where that severe thunderstorm warning continues here. That goes until 8 o'clock for Johnson. Morgan County's in this, and that's also till 8 o'clock, so you got 16 minutes left on that. That's rolling east. This whole line is moving east, so it will eventually be out of here by 11, 12 o'clock. So I know we still have a few more hours to go, but at least we're seeing this move eastbound, and it eventually will be clearing our area. But this is the one storm that is the most intense right here that has been working its way this morning out of now. It went through Casey County, it went through Lincoln County, and it currently is here into Rockcastle County. And it'll be going over into Jackson. And just as we say that, guys, we have dropped off the severe thunderstorm warning. It expired at 7:45, and it doesn't look like that they are going to extend this because they believe that the winds have even gone below the point that they could be damaging. I still think we have winds here in Mount Vernon, and eventually we'll come over in a Sand Gap that have the capability of at least going 40, 50, maybe over 50, and that can still bring down some trees and such. So what we're going to do, guys, is I'm going to send it back to you. We're going to go to break. I'm going to send it back to you guys at the desk because we're going to resume our newscast. And obviously, if anything goes back severe, well, look at that, right? A new warning just came in. How delayed was that, right? As I was getting ready to toss back to you guys. Let me see if they did a tornado possible on that, because if they did, I'm going to stay with that for just a second. Out of Jackson, bear with me, they just issued new severe thunderstorm warning for, includes portions of Laurel County, Jackson County, Owsley County, Rockcastle County, and Clay County until 8:15. And it's for winds that could gust to 70. So they have actually seen it intensify. Let me see, and they still have remained with a tornado possible tag, but they've also put the thunderstorm damage threat is considerable. So I gave you guys a little false warning over there. We're gonna have to stay with this because this storm still has the capability of producing some damage. All right, joining me now in studio and here in a minute is Peyton Hinkle. He's going to be helping me out with some tag team coverage as we keep watching this storm roll off to the east. So remember a minute ago when I said that the indication we were starting to see a bit of a backward shaped C signature on the radar, where is usually an indication of where you are talking about the potential for damaging straight line winds here, okay? So right through here is where that would be tracking. And the Weather Service is who issues the warnings, watches and warnings, says that there is the potential for damaging wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour and still a potential for even a spin-up tornado. I still have not seen any damage reports out of the west, which is good. Doesn't mean that they aren't delayed, but we will watch that. Oh, that's kind of intensified a bit. Brighter shades of the green here and brighter shades of the red. Now, they're not what we would say is tight together or bumping up once again to next to each other. They're spread apart, and that still, though, is an indicator here that we are likely looking at a more of a damaging straight line wind threat. But when you get winds that have the potential to go up to 70 miles an hour, that's a problem. All right, that can easily bring down trees. And although this is saying in one direction it's 36 miles an hour, and the northern part it'd be 21, so you'd be looking at 36 and 21 combined together. And the radar thinks that next to each other you're going to be looking at winds that are going to be over 50 miles an hour and pushing close still to 60. All right, let me put a track on this. I just want to look at all this whole line, but really this is the most intense part here that's coming through the northeastern part rather of Rockcastle County, east of Mount Vernon. So the most intense part of this has moved east of Mount Vernon, at least the most intense winds. Next down the line would be McKee and Anvil. Peyton, what did they say the forward movement is on that warning? Are you?
I'm getting it pulled up right now.
You can look over on my computer over here. I have that warning. I pulled up in that box that's on there. It'll say the forward. And it looks like in this newest scan, look at this. Remember why we said, well, we kept with it and said that it had a tornado possible tag on it. Look what just happened. See, this is why we've been saying all morning that a spin-up tornado could happen in between scans or right along these lines. When we get like a squall line or a line of storms like this, right on that leading edge, you can get a wind shift, you can get a spin-up tornado in seconds, and then it's gone. Look at the intensity. I think they're probably going to upgrade this if it keeps for another scan to a tornado warning. So that's why we've not gone away with it. That's why we've stayed with this. It's a severe thunderstorm warning, but again, we're going to treat this more as if it not only does it have the capability of producing damaging winds to 70 miles an hour, it also has still that capability and a bit of an increased capability now of a tornado in northeastern portions of Rockcastle County and over into Jackson County. So our friends watching us in Jackson County here, let me turn off the lightning so I can see Loam, Dango, Goochland, back over toward Janetta, right on top of Cooksburg. This is where, if there's a tornado, that would be it right here. Cooksburg, Janetta, Goochland, Loam, Dango would be next. And you follow that line and it goes eastbound toward McKee. I'll throw on some of the roads again. Here's Hurley, South Tree Road, Lear Road, and then it moves off toward Buzzard Branch Road. That's Atkinstown. That's off to the east. So this is over into Jackson County. All those people, if I just called out your community, or if you live within a stone throws away, or if you live within a mile or two of those little communities that I called out in Jackson County and over into Rockcastle County, you need to be in a basement, or you need to be on the first floor of your home, interior room away from windows, and stay there until we obviously give you the all clear. Yes, I know there's only a severe thunderstorm warning right now, but they kept it with what we call a tornado possible, that one could spin up. So I'm telling you that there is an increased chance now that we have a tornado. It may be weak, but still a tornado nonetheless that is crossing out of northeastern Rockcastle County, and it's crossing over into Jackson County. This is east of Mount Vernon. This is northeast of Livingston. This is right on top of Cooksburg and Janetta. Look at these small communities here and when they are expected potentially to get there. Now, Janetta, I said that a moment ago. Loam, 7:55, so you may have 3 minutes, if that. Maybe not even that, because we'll get a new updated scan and it's probably on top of Loam. Hurley, 8:01, Bills Branch, near 8, a few minutes after. McKee, 8:04. Cornelius, 8:05. South McKee, 8:05. Atkinstown, 8:06. So we'll see this. Peyton, are they saying anything in the chat here about any damage, anything at all, or what they're focusing more on other than what I just said right here?
So far, but just to get back to you on how fast it's moving, it's around 45 miles per hour right now, so you're pretty close on timing things out. I threw up a track or two on my side. So McKee, 8 o'clock, Rocky Hill Heights around 8:02, Island City, 8:17, Vincent, 8:17, and I put this track on the area of rotation that we're watching. So if you're in these areas, be on the lookout in the next 10-15 minutes or so. Again, I put the track on the area of rotation, but everyone within the warning box could see impacts from this with gusting winds, very heavy rainfall as well from Anvil down towards Burning Springs. You guys need to be on the lookout as well for those conditions. Haven't seen anything just yet in the chat as far as storm damage goes, but we're continuing to watch for that. Obviously, we're always communicating with the National Weather Service and our partners there to try to continue to monitor that. But Justin, moving around, tornado warning just now, so I'll send it back over to you.
All right, new tornado warning with this storm. Remember, this is the one I was just warning you on, and Peyton was warning you on ahead of time, that we were seeing an uptick in intensity and that we would go from that damaging wind threat back more to an increased tornado potential. We're not saying that there is one on the ground. We don't have that confirmation, but we see an uptick on the radar. It's looking inside the storm. It sees that winds are spinning next to each other, and that's why they've issued this tornado warning for the potential of a tornado right here on top of Cooksburg, just east of there, Loam and Dango, moving east. So we're going to get some new times on this. Anyone living in Jackson County right now, all right, the heart of Jackson County, McKee, Atkinstown, Blooming Grove, Anvil, even Cooksburg, back to the north here, Bills Branch, Hurley, Dango, any of these communities, go to that basement. And I know a lot of people in here in this portion of the state, and even here in central Kentucky, we don't have basements. So if you don't, the next best place, first floor of the home, bathroom, closet, interior room, away from windows. Get some pillows, get a helmet if you have one. If your kids have a bike helmet, sports helmet, put it on. All right, it will give you better protection than you trying to cover your head up with your hands, okay? But pillows, again, mattresses, cover up with those. So that's not the only tornado warning we have either. I just noticed when I was stepping off that up to the north, they've also issued a tornado warning for Johnson County, north of Paintsville here. And this is likely going to stay north of Paintsville. To be honest, I'm not seeing the same indication with looking at this storm as the one that we were down to the south going into Jackson County. Yes, there still is some broad rotation here, but this is way more broad than what is down to the south. But we're going to treat it as the same here, that everyone, regardless if it's a tornado or if it's still some straight line winds possibly producing some damage in Johnson County, treat it as the same till 8:15. So even though the strongest winds are north of Paintsville, we can look at the radar and just give you an indication that even the heaviest rain and the impactful weather is also north of Paintsville. If we go back down to the other storm, though, because that's the one that has been showing signs pretty much for most of the morning of at least some rotation. That's this storm here that is crossed out of now Rockcastle County, and it is in the western part of Jackson County. We've got that tornado warning here till 8:30. So we're only a few minutes before the top of the hour at 7:56. And two tornado warnings, one in Johnson County and one here in Jackson County. Yes, they've drawn this to include eastern Rockcastle County because that's where the storm was coming from. But if you'll look here with me at the winds inside the storm, the potential tornado is east of Rockcastle County. So if you're watching me right now and you can hear me, Mount Vernon, you are clear of the rotation. Back off into the northeastern part of Rockcastle County as well. Those other smaller communities, Cooksburg, Jonetta, Goochland communities, rotation is east of you now. If we have a tornado, it's in Jackson County. It is right, it would be here. Okay, now again, the radar is still many miles away over in Jackson, Breathitt County, not Jackson County. It's looking into this storm, and it's showing winds going toward the radar and away from the radar next to each other. This is probably the tightest circulation that we've seen all morning long, and this is what we mean. See the little pixel of green and a pixel of bright red next to each other? Right there, Gibson Road, okay? Or very close to this, because the curvature of the earth and the radar, as it gets further away, it could be slightly different, but it's in this vicinity. Dango, Gibson Road, off to the east, Lear Road, that goes over into more into the central portion here of Jackson County. Here's McKee. Here's where the rotation is. Not far away from the county seat here is the greatest rotation. And it may pass just to the south of McKee, but it's going to be close enough by that I want everybody in Jackson County to your safe place right now. We go over this with kids, and I know school's in session this morning. Those kids and those administrators and those teachers, they know what to do. They have their safe place. They're going to take them there, and they get down in the position where they cover their heads with their hands to give themselves the most protection that they have at school right now. And I know school is just starting, or it has started within the last hour here in Jackson County. And this is the last thing that anybody wants, especially as our kids are getting off the bus or just now starting school. I'm going to come in a little bit closer. Let me zoom back out just a touch so the roads get a little bit larger. I mentioned Gibson Road here. It's kind of hard to see what that road is there. Peyton, can you make, it looks like South Tree Lookout, Tower Road. I mean, so anybody that lives there knows these roadways, okay? So I'm going to put a new track on the front edge of this because it's moving at 50. That was a lot. Was that the last move, or was it 45? 50? Yep. So that's fast. Think about you driving in your car. Look, there's the new scan. Look, it cleared out of that area fast. So that's how fast it's moving across Jackson County right now. I'm going to put a new track on that so we can just throw up the times. And what we'll do is we'll just track it along with you, okay? Moving toward Island City, it's going to be going that way too. So then that goes over. Remember, Owsley County has been included in this too. Only a tip of Owsley County, but it likely, if this rotation continues like this, will get extended. Tornado warning till 8:30, 7:59 right now. Atkinstown 8:02, Mildred 8:04, Brownsville 8:06, Malden at 8:07, Mummy 8:07, and Sourwood at 8:12. So right in this zone here, very close to McKee, but likely between McKee and Anvil is where if we have a tornado, this is where it would be. You see anything over there, Peyton? I'm going to look at the shear product here. This is also, remember I mentioned that this is this tightest couplet or rotation we've seen all morning, but this is also the strongest on our radar rotation detector that I've seen all morning. Most of the morning it's been in this weak range. It's now up to at least potential for some strong rotation showing up in there.
Not seeing any reports of damage or anything just yet. Obviously, though, this is still very active, so we'll continue to watch for that. Still seeing that rotation that Justin was just talking about right in here. I've circled it. I've zoomed in really closely so we can call out some of these area roadways. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So if you're Buzzard Branch Road, back towards McCannon Ridge Road, Atkinstown, Blooming Grove, all these areas you need to get into your safe spot. This is working again at about 50 miles per hour towards the east, so you need to be ready to go. We'll zoom things, or we'll expand the view just a little bit so you can see. This does go into portions of Owsley County as well, as Justin was talking about, but right now this is right in the heart of Jackson County, so we're continuing to see that rotation there. We also still have the severe thunderstorm warning for areas just outside of the tornado warning as well, so even if you're not in that tornado warning box, you could still be seeing some impacts from this as well. A lot of lightning with this. Justin just showed the rotation tracker. I'll go ahead and put that back up. And like Justin was saying, this is some of the strongest rotation we've seen throughout the morning. You can see right in the heart of where we were showing you the reds and greens coming together. That's where we're seeing radars detecting some stronger rotation there. So again, if you're Atkinstown, back towards Soaptown, Privet, Mummy, Brownsville, Mildred, Blooming Grove, all these areas, you should be taking this seriously, getting into your safe spot this morning. And obviously, Justin, we've been talking about this throughout the morning as well. It's not the best time. It's rush hour. A lot of people heading to work and school. So just be aware of that. If you are in your car in these areas, you want to get to a safe spot as soon as you can. Again, rotation right in here, and it's working off to the east. I'll put a tracker on this really quickly and see if we can get, again, it's moving at about, well, it's giving me some problems here, but it's moving at about 50 miles per hour. So it's moving pretty quickly, Justin. Island City around 8:23, maybe a little bit sooner in those areas. And I'll send it back over to you. Do you have anything new?
I'm looking here on my phone. One, it's social media to see if we have any reports out of this, but I'm also checking in on my phone with the National Weather Service because we're in constant communication with them. Let's see, they have they're looking at this storm still that was coming out of Rockcastle County into Jackson County. They've not received any reports yet either. We'll keep an eye on that, but this is definitely still the strongest rotation we've had all morning long here. Let me reset. For those of you just joining us now here at 8:03, we've got a tornado warning that's in place. This is for Jackson County, Owsley County, also into the northern part of Clay County here, all where those kind of three come together. A tornado warning until 8:30. So we have a little less than 30 minutes left. This is moving east at 50, but if there's a tornado, it would be right here, very close and just south of McKee. So passing very close to McKee, but more so in between McKee and Anvil, right here, coming along. This is US 421 that comes just through and just north there of McKee and goes east of Anvil there, and it would be going over eventually toward Island City. That's over in Owsley County. Let me show you back where another product that we look at. This is our winds, all right, where the reds and the greens are next to each other right here. Again, we told you that's 421. Also, I'm trying to get some more of the roads to pop on. Bear with me. So these are some of the smaller communities: Brownsville, Mildred, Soaptown, Privet, Mummy, and Malden. Over toward Elias, Sourwood, Island City here, all within the path of, again, a potential tornado. We still have not had any ground truth, but we are still keeping a close eye on it because it could. And this is the highest that I think I've seen our Barron Tornado Index since I have worked here. And I've worked here for 3 years. I've not seen it at a 6.4. And through a lot of research, and I'll just save you the longest explanation, this company that we use for severe weather products, when this number gets usually near 6 or better, there has been found that a good chance that there's a tornado on the ground. All right, let me look at some other products here because we have some other data that we get from the radar. I want to look and see if we have any debris signature showing up here. It may be hard because of elevation 2, but I'm not seeing anything that is standing out there. We would look, the radar sees raindrops, it sees hail, and then it sees other objects if there's a tornado, like debris, okay? And it would show up as a different color on our debris detector here if there were. I'm not seeing it. Doesn't mean that it hasn't been lofted up or potentially there yet. But I'm not seeing anything totally standing out at the moment. Kind of hard to go back on time, but this is 1 hour. Look how this is intensified. See how we've gone, the reds, the rotation detector, we've gone from the greens that are weak to the red that's strong, and it's running right into the heart of Jackson County here. So the track is going to take that area of rotation eastbound, and here are the communities, all right? It is on top of Atkinstown. We've been giving you a bunch of lead time. We've been mentioning Atkinstown for the last 15 to 30 minutes. Blooming Grove, same story. If there's a tornado, it's there at the moment, okay? Mildred, you only have a couple of minutes, all right? It's basically there now. We'll get a new scan, and it's going to bump it right there. Privet, 8:10, Zeke's Point at 8:10, Hurd at 8:11, Malden 8:12, and Mummy at 8:12 as well, okay? So this is for a potential tornado, if you're just tuning in, that is moving through or potentially moving through, this rotation is through Jackson County and moving eastbound. Now, other threats from this, other than there just being a potential tornado, we have torrential rain. We also are going to have the potential, if there's not a tornado, for straight line damaging winds, 60, maybe even 70 miles an hour. Wouldn't even rule out some smaller hail here, but clearly the primary concern is for a tornado. All right, you see how on the back edge of this here, there's a bit of a notch inward, and that would be where we would have a tornado. Let me go back to our standard view. See that here? It's right on top and just east, actually, of Atkinstown and Blooming Grove. So that's going to be, as we work our way into eastern, now we're getting more out of central and more into the eastern part of Jackson County. You saw the times update. I want to move this on the left side of the screen so you can just keep a close eye on and this as the times keep updating for these smaller communities, all right? We're talking about Brownsville and Malden there within the next couple of minutes. We'll throw on some roads too. I'll get a little closer. Vickers Road right in the heart of this. So is Peters Road. So as we mentioned, Zeke's Point. Let's see, Gregory Road, which is a little farther north. You're also right in the heart of where a possible tornado is crossing. Also, let's zoom in a little bit closer and show you Andrews Road. There's the Brownsville community, and here's Carter Lane and Mildred Road. So all of those smaller communities, smaller roads are within the path of a potential tornado. Okay, so this is the one storm that we've got. We also had another tornado warning to the north, but it has expired. This was for Johnson County. That has since ended, okay? It was gone, it's faded, but there still is a strong storm that's moving out of Johnson County and over into the southern tip of Lawrence County and the northern tip of Martin County. So you're deep into eastern Kentucky here, really just outside or on the fringe of our viewing area here. Here's Louisa, it's south of there. Strong storm, but not severe any longer. Severe, or I mean a stronger storm, but not severe in the northern part of, this is going to be over to McGoffin County, north of Salyersville, back to Wolfe County, Campton, and then rolling our way south. But the only warning, severe warning that we have is this tornado warning for Jackson County, Owsley County, and the northern, and I do mean northern tip of Clay County. That goes until 8:30 this morning, okay? And it is for obviously this portion of the storm. There's the new rotation detector there right on top of Malden and moving eastbound here. This is moving fast. It's moving at 50. So Island City, I need you in your safe spot if you're not already there, all right? We go over this. Safest place for some of you, it's going to be a basement. If you don't have that, the next best place to be is on the first floor of your home. Interior room on that first floor. Bathroom, it's often that. If your bathroom is on an exterior wall with windows, don't go there. Don't go in any room that has a window, all right? You don't want to be near glass. You want to be into a center portion of your home. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside part of your home. A closet, an interior hallway, or room without windows on that first floor. A staircase, a lot of homes, there's closets sometimes that are under those staircases. Get under there. That's going to give you, that's usually center, but it's also a lot of times gives you an extra bit of structure with those staircases that are above you and then a wall that's on both sides. Island City, I mentioned that. Taft, you're going to be down the line here and in short order. I'm going to draw a new track because it went away. It's moving east still at 50. Correct? That was our last.
Yeah, at 50.
Okay. Are you seeing anything different?
Just want to point out, if you're in Owsley County, I mean, this is getting really close to the county line there. So if you're over in Owsley County, Sturgeon, Indy, Blake, Island City, all those areas, even if you're in Conkling, Taft, Major, South Fork, you're right outside of that warning box, but this is still working in your direction. So we'll see in the next few minutes if they're going to extend this further into Owsley County. It isn't right now, but I would still go ahead and get in your safe spot because, Justin, as we've been saying throughout the morning, moving at about 50 miles per hour, so it's moving fairly quickly across Jackson County right now as we speak. The rotation detector is doing a pretty good job showing exactly where that rotation is, where these reds and greens are coming together. But again, as I'm pointing out, notice how close we are to the county line. So if you're in Owsley County, this is your time to go ahead, get into your safe spot as well, even if you're not under a warning right now. We still have some significant rotation there. Justin, not seeing any reports yet, but again, as this is just happening, usually it comes afterwards. So we'll see if we get anything new from them. Haven't seen anything from the Weather Service just yet about extending it, except they did extend the tornado watch for a few of those counties in this area as well. So southeastern Kentucky, that tornado watch is continuing right now. I'll go ahead and throw up that rotation detector. I mean, it's right on the money where we're seeing the reds and greens coming together, showing the velocity. So this is indicating some fairly strong to decent rotation here. So you want to go ahead and get in your safe spot. If you, just updated, the radar just updated. So now we're right along that county line, Justin.
Yeah, and right where I was putting here the times of arrival, and this is even going to get updated because it's now sliding east. I just sent a message to, I was talking with the Weather Service to see if they're going to extend that. I'm shocked that they haven't yet. But even if they haven't or aren't going to extend tornado warning, I'm surprised they potentially haven't done a severe thunderstorm warning. Let me clear all that off because this is the area that Peyton was mentioning here. If we have a tornado, it is right on the county line. So we're talking about Jackson County here, we're talking about Owsley County here, and Clay County here, where the three of them meet together just north of that. So right there, Island City. Okay, we're going to be for sure getting an uptick in wind here very soon. Already getting rain there in Island City. Let me turn the lightning on. You'll notice a concentration of lightning increasing again. So heavy rain, lightning, still gusty winds, Boonville back to Vincent. And then for sure down to Island City, but it's right here just out of Jackson County and crossing into Owsley County, right very close to Island City is where, if we would have a tornado, it would be right in this zone right here, okay? Coming out of the county, coming out of Jackson County, that is. I mean, this is producing for sure torrential rainfall, and we've already had reports to the north, and I don't want to discredit that, that we've had some flooding this morning. We've had some schools that were delayed. We've had some schools that were closed because of flooding. Powell County being one of those. Bourbon County was on an hour delay this morning because of flooded secondary roads. Floyd County, same story. So we've had rounds of rain here that have definitely put down some torrential rainfall. I'm looking at my phone here, not to ignore you, but I'm looking at the National Weather Service chat here. Still not saying, I still haven't got an update whether they're extending that or not, but there it is right there. They've replaced it with a severe thunderstorm warning instead of a tornado warning. But what they've done is, once again, they've gone with a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible, meaning that yes, that they think the greatest concern is for some damaging winds, but they still give, a tornado could develop quickly with little to no warning. That's why they put that in there, okay? So we just treat that the same though, because because the history that this storm has had, and that rotation, as it's been going along here, has been fairly strong. The shear, you can still see here, there's still that pocket there of stronger rotation still showing up, moving into Island City right now. We are going to stay with this until it clears out or it weakens entirely. So the strongest portion of this storm is going to be south of Boonville and north of Burning Springs, okay? Right on top of Island City and moving eastbound. So this is going to be taking us east as we work our way to, Peyton mentioned these communities earlier. I heard him call out Conkling, Taft, Sebastian, Lucky Fork, Ricetown, South Fork, and Major, and also back over to Blake. You see the updated scan here? Sometimes this is slightly delayed because this product, what it does is it looks and scans and takes in all the data from the radar in terms of what the winds are doing and puts this product together and shows us where it thinks the greatest rotation is. I want to go back to the last hour, and the reason why I'm doing the 1 hour is because this is going to show you how the track has been. All right? Look here. Look how long this storm has been producing at least some rotation. Rockcastle, Lincoln, Casey, Marion and Taylor, back over to LaRue County, portions of Hardin and Hart County, and it originated way back here into Grayson County, and it just worked its way east all morning to its current standpoint and current time, where we have still our greatest rotation and a potential tornado here coming on top of Island City. All right, so we've not had any actually confirmation that there is a tornado there, but the radar is still indicating that we have some strong rotation, okay? So we're going to treat it as such here, that it still is. All right, here's Boonville. It's going to pass south of you. The potential tornado is going to pass just south of Boonville, south of Vincent. It's on Island City. If I draw this line east, and I'll put some cities on in a minute, but this is the path right here it's taking. It's going to follow right along this line, okay? So if I take off my tool here and go back inside the storm just a bit, you see that takes it due east, Conklin and Taft, Sebastian, down to Lucky Fork, right along that line through southern Owsley County, okay? Now, could this deviate just a bit? Absolutely, it could. It could fluctuate just a bit north, all right? Major, South Fork, Blake, all these areas right here need to be into that interior room, lowest floor of the home, and treat this as if, yes, there is a tornado on the ground. We still have not heard that. I want to look again at another product. Let me go. We have all these tabs here, and all these things show us something different, okay? This is giving us what the radar thinks is some of the greatest severe threats out of this. I zoomed in too much. Let me recenter this back to the north here. You see where it shows the reds here, and you get up into where it's saying what it thinks that the winds could be. Well, let's just look on top of Island City. 70 miles an hour, less than that, less than 70, less than 58. But still, there could be one straight line winds up to 70 miles an hour, which can do damage, can bring down trees, which could fall on your home. It could pick up debris and move that, whether it's trees or whether it's, outdoor patio furniture or maybe it's small branches, pick that up and blow it into your home, okay? So even if there's not a tornado, we still have some damaging winds that are absolutely accompanying this portion of the storm. Right on top of Island City, Blake and Conklin and Taft and over to Sebastian. You'll notice right there, they just reissued a tornado warning. This is why we've not left this. We look at the same data. There are partners, but I saw signs here along with Peyton that, you know what, there was rotation with this enough. We're staying with it like it's a tornado, okay? And that's what they've just done. They've extended this tornado warning to now go over. Let me get some of the newest counties for you because we're zoomed in really tight here. A tornado warning is going off to the east, and that's going to be including, let me reset this a little wider so I can see, Breathitt County. Also going to be over in the northern tip of Perry County. I mean, way up here in the tip. So Owsley County, Breathitt County, and the northern tip of Perry County, and that goes till 8:45. It's because this rotation's right on top of Island City, and it still has a ways to go as it works its way off to the east. All right, here's a new updated time of arrival and some new data. Still looking at the tornado index here at 6.3. Remember, this scale goes as high as 10 or 11. I have seen it exceed 10 in some other portions of the United States, but typically they say that the highest on average is a 10. When you're in that middle range here at a 6, that's a high number, and the higher that number, the better the chance that there could be a tornado. We still have not heard that. We still have no confirmation, but you know what? We're treating it as if there is. We don't want to be going outside and looking in any of these communities. Ricetown, Lucky Fork, we don't. That's our human instinct. We want to see it. We want to look outside. You don't want to look outside because this is likely, let me show you, rain wrapped. You wouldn't see it. You wouldn't see it until, if there's a tornado, until it's on your doorstep or right there. You don't ever want to do that, ever. You want to be inside. Do not look for this, okay? Don't be near windows even. All right, Blake, Conklin, and Taft, you can see the times here. Let me move this up so you can see it a little better. 8:26, Conklin. I mean, it's on your doorstep right now. South Fork, 8:28, Sebastian, 8:30, Mistletoe, 8:32, and Lucky Fork, 8:33. Peyton?
Yeah, Justin, another thing we've been talking about throughout the morning is just how heavy the rain is. You were just talking about if there is a tornado on the ground, you're not going to be able to see it until it's right on top of you. Very heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning with this, so much so that we've turned off the lightning just so you can see the radar a little bit better of a picture here. Let's go ahead, take a closer look at things, show you the rotation. Again, where the reds and greens come together, that's exactly where we're looking at. So right over Island City, we should be getting an updated scan coming up in just a few few minutes. But if you're in the Blake community, Conkling, Taft, Ricetown, Sebastian, Lucky Fork, back towards Morris Fork and Dalesburg, you all want to get in your safe spot as this is working in your direction. This is moving at around 45 miles per hour now, according to the National Weather Service. So a little bit slower, but it really is not making that big of a difference than what we were seeing earlier. Still moving fairly quickly across the region. So if you're in these communities, especially in Owsley County, want to go ahead and get into your safe spot. Justin mentioned they added that tornado warning back once again. We did have the severe thunderstorm warning along with it as well here. Let's go ahead, turn on the rotation detector, and it's right on the money with where the rotation is picking up here. So you can see the weak is in the green, stronger rotation is in that red shading. So right over Island City here, again, Blake is included in this, and it's working in the direction of Conkling and Taft within the next few minutes. So be on the lookout for that, moving at about 45 miles per hour. We still have that very heavy rainfall along with it. So as we were talking about, it could be rain wrapped and you wouldn't really be able to necessarily see it as it's working in your direction. So this is just south of Boonville. So Boonville's really on the outskirts of this at this point, and portions of Owsley County here. We also have portions of Clay County in this, also back into portions of Breathitt and Northern Perry counties as well. But it's still taking a little bit of time to get there. Owsley County, you're right in the bullseye of this at this point. Justin, are you seeing any updates from the Weather Service? Any damage reports?
Well, when I asked them if they were extending that warning, they said absolutely yes, and that they were seeing right in that zone. Remember, I showed you this product earlier. We've got it labeled as something called CC. This is a debris detector, and that anything that is obscure to the radar other than like hail or rain, it's going to show up in a drop. They said that they were noticing a minute ago right near Island City and just east of there, under where we had the greatest rotation, that there was a bit of a drop, a bit of a different shade showing up in this zone, and that could be debris. They did not say that with definitive answer, yes, but that lines up with where we have the rotation and where there could be a tornado right in that zone, right where we've been telling you. So on Island City there, I mean, it is still there, okay? I mean, we have not lost that signature at all. Maybe in the latest scan, it may be slightly weaker, but for sure not by much as this continues to move east. Noticing that tick in lightning here right along it, going from Island City and up to the north on the northern flank of this. So again, any rotation right on Island City, and it would be moving really due east, Taft and Conkling and towards Sebastian here. I want to show, let me look at standard velocity too. You can definitely see that we're looking at winds regardless of there's tornado. The radar is saying winds potentially 85 miles an hour. So this is why we've said even if there is not a tornado, we could get straight line winds over 70 miles per hour. 70 miles an hour can do damage, so can 60. But when you're getting up maybe north of 80 potentially, I mean, you're weekend tornado level here. You're at EF0 for sure, potential, all right, with these types of winds. But the twisting of those next to each other and that increase in spin can obviously, if there is a tornado, could do more damage than just the straight component to the wind moving in one direction, outward, okay, and forward. But that's what we have here, the reds and the greens, that's what we're looking at. Winds that are in opposite direction next to each other. That means there is some turning, that is there's some twisting of the winds, which is what we call that usually little shear marker that shows up. It's not showing up at the moment, but still we got a tornado warning, and it goes over to Breathitt County mention this. Here's Jackson. And this is when we say the radar's in Jackson, it's just northeast of there at where the National Weather Service office is located, okay? So we actually have a really pretty close vantage point to this storm from this radar. Here's Jackson. You're not included in this, but southern and southwestern portions of Breathitt County are. That's going to be including, as you see here, Crockett'sville is included in the warning. So is Morris Fork, Lucky Fork. So we go back out of Breathitt County and go back into Owsley. So Owsley County, Breathitt County, and the northern tip here of Perry County, all under a tornado warning until 8:45. It does include the northern part of Clay County because the rotation is literally riding right along pretty much the Owsley and Clay County lines. But the greatest concentration of it is right there toward Island City. Again, still no damage reports. I want to look back at that, our shear product here, our rotation detector, and this is going to show how it just continues to roll east. And you can even see this is started to intensify in color. So we have a scale up here, a legend for a reason. So the weak would be green, and then the reds are strong. And then if we had any yellow, thankfully don't, it would be up toward extreme, all right? But there's a deeper shade of red that is starting to show up there. We may be able to pixel query this, and I think it's just going to say, yeah, what the legend does, that it is strong. It's not going to give us a number. It's just going to give us that it shows that there is strong rotation right on top of Island City. And you've probably noticed that it's not moved much because we've been saying Island City what seems like forever. But we were giving you a lot of lead time, but the rotation hasn't moved a whole lot in the last about 10, 15 minutes, it seems. It's approached there, and then it's just kind of slowed down. If I kind of look, what I'll do is I also want to show you our future radar product, and it's going to take the current radar image and go out 2 hours. All right, so watch here. This is going to take us out 2 hours. And I'm going to hit play, and we're going to go forward where that storm's going. So yeah, 2 hours is a long time. It's going to be out of here. It'll be clearly out of Owsley County. But you see how the radar, how our future radar even actually still shows that bit of a hook signature to it, that notch, that inflow, the winds coming into the storm. It still shows that structure crossing southern Breathitt County, eventually northern Perry County, and then watch it with me again. It goes over into Knott County, and then from there, southern Floyd County, and then eventually into Pike County. That's what our future radar says is going to happen with that as we go out the next 2 hours. This is a loop here. Let's stop it. Let's take you what's happening now. I mean, this is a pretty close to a clear signature that we look for when we're talking about radar. This is the standard picture. There is torrential rain here on the northern side of this. There's a rain-free zone down to the south. We have, because of the winds, the inflow here, and it gives this hook signature. The winds, the storm is wrapping the rain around and it's pulling it back. So if there's a tornado, it's right there. I mean, it just lines up. It's a signature. It's a textbook signature that we look at on the radar, and look at it right there, that rain-free zone. And you know what? I think this is still maybe lagging a little bit behind here. I want to look at another product. Keep that on the camera. Peyton, were you seeing anything there either? I'm pulling up. I'm looking at multiple things here at once here while we tell people what's happening down across eastern Kentucky. For people that are elsewhere, Peyton, things are calming down in central Kentucky, which is great.
Yeah, calming down here across the metro area, so that's some good news. Obviously, we had the heavier rain earlier. Still some flash flooding and flooding concerns across the area, especially on some secondary roads along those smaller creeks and streams. And we still have some of those flash flood warnings across northeastern Kentucky. I'll try to show that in just a second. We'll stay with the tornado warning for right now. Justin was mentioning this. Even though the storm's moving at about 45 miles per hour, it it doesn't seem like it's moving all that fast because the rotation is still right around the Island City community. Now, I do want to point out, if you are in far northern Clay County, right along the county line, you also want to be in your safe spot with this because it is still fairly close to those communities as well. Regardless of if you're seeing a tornado or not, still dealing with torrential rainfall, a lot of lightning in there with this as well, and the gusty winds are definitely a possibility regardless of if there's a tornado or not as well. So damaging winds are still a possibility, so you want to take this seriously. Again, that rotation still right over the Island City community where these reds and greens come together right here. That's where we're seeing the strongest rotation at this point along in this tornado warning. So Owsley County is really right in the bullseye, but again, some very strong winds in northern Clay County at this point, right along the Owsley-Clay County line right there. So you want to go ahead and be in your safe spot as well in some of those areas. Now, if you're just back off to the east in portions of Owsley, back into Breathitt and northern Perry County, you still have a little bit of time before this gets to you. However, you want to be starting to make those preparations to get to a safe spot as well. On the rotation detector, we're still seeing that strongest rotation right over Island City, which is lining right up with the velocity we were just showing you. We're continuing to see that. The rotation's not moving, or it seems the rotation's not moving as quickly as the storm itself is. So that's kind of interesting. We'll continue to watch that. I mentioned a lot of the lightning with this, especially out ahead of it into portions of Breathitt County. You can see that on the screen here. I also want to go to, we do have a camera out in Owsley County, one of our Mesonet cameras. It's not really picking up on much other than just the rain right now. Now, this camera only updates every couple minutes, so it's not a exact live, constant live picture, but we'll continue to monitor this to see if we see anything with this as well. 63 degrees, though. It's very warm out there compared to where we were yesterday this time, Justin, as well. So we'll continue to watch this. I'll send it back over to you.
Okay, so what's happening here for our data is lagging behind here by quite a bit. I'm looking at another product off camera, and let me line this up. What's going on is we're actually seeing the storm now that's further east. See where they've drawn the warning? The radar is ahead. Our data, for some reason, is not coming in, so we're going to have to try to draw this for you as we go, unfortunately. I have another product that is lining up, but unfortunately with it, I can't show you where the velocity or the winds are. So we're going to look and go back to Weather 101 class and look at the standard radar view here. All right, so Island City, rotation is gone. It's out of there. I know we've been saying that, but our radar data was lagging behind. If there is a tornado, it's going to be east of there, and our skid markers, these lines that show up, storm track lines that show up, is updating on time. So, all right, Arnett 836, Lucky Fork 836, Morris Fork 839, Buckhorn at 842, Sebastian's Branch 842, and Beach at 844. So if there is a tornado, it is now into eastern Owsley County, right around Arnett, Lucky Fork areas, and it will be going over into southern Breathitt County. So places like Talbot there, now showing up at 844, eventually again down to Buckhorn, and looks like Altro, and then Roosevelt, and then Ingle. It'll just keep moving east here, but this is where the current, actually radar scan does put it here. All right, let me clear this off for you, and we can show you the standard radar view with all these boxes off of there. Boonville, all right, heaviest rain, south view. Island City, rotation, south and east. You're clear. You can come out of your safe spot, Island City, if you're watching right there. Where we would potentially still have a tornado, if we do, it's going to be right here, Morris Fork and Crockett'sville, as I mentioned, and here's Buckhorn. So you're talking about, remember, an area here in Buckhorn that was impacted a couple years ago by the big flooding. This is an area that's in the path of a potential tornado. All right, here, Morris Fork, Buckhorn, Dellsburg, up toward Beach, which you're going back into Breathitt County. So we've got a number of counties coming together. Owsley's here, Breathitt's here, and Perry County is here. Let me go back to our other products. See, the data isn't updating. So we'll go back. let me look here at this product showing less wind, but we still definitely have strong winds that are showing up here. Let me go back to the other product. Bear with me here for just a minute. This product also kind of lagging behind as well. Let me go back to our national view of the radar, and you can see that here. We just saw a new updated scan, so hopefully the data is coming in. We get this product. This comes from, again, the Weather Service, National Weather Service, but we also get this in from our weather vendor. So where we've got right now, potential tornado to be right in this zone. Movement is still off to the east at 50, and it's crossing out of Owsley County over into Breathitt right now. And I just gave you some of the communities. You can kind of see this bit of a void in the intense precipitation. If we have a tornado, it's going to be right through this zone here, and it's going to race east, still racing east at 50. I mean, that's going to be putting it there over into the eastern part of the state. There's a new scan. You just saw it update there. So, Beach, it's on top of you at 8:42, if not right now. You're getting rain, you're getting wind. It's going to be picking up, potential intensity going higher. Barwick 846, Wolf Cole at 846, and down eventually here toward Ingle at 853. Hold on a second. I'm going to match this up with other data I look at here. They've not extended a severe thunderstorm warning yet, and they've not extended the tornado warning yet either. I'm going to look, see if this is still matching up with what I'm showing you here. And it definitely is. So if we have a tornado left, all right, it would be near the Buckhorn area up toward the beach community and just west of Altro, right in this zone. So right where Perry and southern Breathitt County come together. Owsley County back to the west. Owsley County, the rotation has cleared there. So Owsley County, you are done with the threat for a tornado, which is great news, all right? The polygon still includes a sliver of the county there, but I see that the rotation here is out ahead where this heaviest rain is, and it's moving eastbound there. And you can see these times are right, okay? They're moving east. Let me clear this off and try to redraw that for you. They're not saying anything additional about extending this yet, whether they're going to extend it as a severe, they just did right there. But telling us they did not because they're working, they're keeping an eye on the data like we are, the Weather Service is, and they're now issuing this with a severe thunderstorm warning. So the tornado warning will be allowed to expire in just a few moments, and it's going to be replaced here with a severe thunderstorm warning, all right? And then it's going to be rolling east over to Perry County, and this is going to be taking us over into Knott County. That's till 9:30, but there still is some rotation that's in here. You notice this uptick in lightning that's on the northern part of this. This is the strongest part of the storm that's in Breathitt County and working its way east. Let me clear off this warning, and then I'll give you some of the smaller communities again that are within that zone where we could still potentially have a tornado. Right in here out of Breathitt and Perry County together. Let me zoom back and get you some of the smaller communities showing up. All right, so here's Crockett'sville, here's Buckhorn, there's Beach, Altro, and then I think that says Barwick. It does, okay. Says the Barwick community. That's going to be off to the east over toward Lamont, and Lamont is going to be deeper into northern Perry County. All right, so even though they issued a severe thunderstorm warning, we're still looking at the storm for that capability of possibly producing a tornado. Look here, finally, we got our radar data has come back. It's great. We want this because this gives us more ability to see where there's potential rotation. Peyton, this thing is really flattened out in the latest scan quite a bit. We've lost where the reds and greens really were meeting together, what we would call a couplet, where they're meeting and touching, and it's definitely more broad here, but we're looking still The reason that's why they went ahead and gone with severe thunderstorm warning is because the rotation weakened down to at least the level that now we could be looking at in this part of the state. Southern Breathitt County, northern Perry County, for winds that may be gusting up to about 60 miles per hour, which, as we've talked about all morning, can still do some damage. I'll let you take it over for just a couple minutes. I'm going to look at some more data over here, and I'll be back with you in just a second. Peyton?
Yeah, sounds good. And just to mention, as you know, Justin, and we've seen multiple times, even though you might not be under a tornado warning at this point, severe thunderstorm warnings can be just as dangerous with very, very strong winds. And we're seeing that continue and that threat continue farther east. They still have this severe thunderstorm warning now, including portions of Perry County as well, Hazard back towards Hindman into Knott County. Pippa Passes is in this as well. A lot of lightning with this, but as Justin was mentioning, the good news of what we're seeing so far is the rotation is just not as impressive as it once was. So that is some good news. However, there is still some very strong winds out ahead of this from Chavies back towards Lamont, Ingle, Ned, Stacy, Dice. You all still need to be on the lookout for strong winds as these thunderstorms roll through this morning. But if there is a silver lining or some good news right now, even though there's still maybe a little bit of rotation, it's just not nearly as impressive as it was. Now, that's not to say we couldn't see a quick spin-up tornado or something once again, because as we've seen throughout the morning, you'll see the couplet that we like to call it of where the reds and greens come together of the rotation. You can see that tighten very quickly in this sort of scenario. So we'll continue to watch for that. I'm looking at the latest update. This is now, they're saying, moving east at 50 miles per hour once again. Wind gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour. So again, regardless of if there's a tornado with this at this point, there could still be damaging winds and torrential rainfall. So if you're along a small creek or stream, areas like that, or you have a roadway that's along a small creek or stream, just be aware flooding is definitely a possibility with this. We've seen that across the area already throughout the morning as well. Just looking to see if they have a tornado possible on this new severe thunderstorm warning that they put out. I'm not seeing that at this point. However, actually, they do still have it. So tornado possible. There's threat for some hail as well, 3/4 of an inch in size. And then the wind threat is right around 60 miles per hour or so. So we'll continue to watch this over the next few minutes. We'll go back and look at the rotation just very quickly. And again, if there is any from Chavies, Barwick, Grassy Creek, it's very broad. It's not as impressive as it once was. But regardless, we're still seeing the threat for damaging winds, very heavy rainfall, and the Weather Service has continued that tornado possible inside the severe thunderstorm warning, just for the fact that if we do see a quick spin up, that is definitely a possibility, because that's kind of been the setup we've been dealing with throughout the morning across the state, Justin.
Yes, Peyton, we are watching. Hey, you know what? If there's something that's good about this is that we have seen the trend for the storm in the last really just 30 minutes to weaken, all right? We're not saying that it's weakened to the point that it's not severe any longer at all. It is just weakened enough, all right, that we're not seeing the same signature for that great of, at the moment, of a tornado threat, more a at least gusty wind and maybe even straight line wind potential crossing out of here. I know we've got things zoomed in quite a bit, so let me zoom back out and show you. This is in Breathitt County here. Here's Perry, and here is Knott County, okay? So where we would have, if there is, again, any rotation, it is very, very broad here. It's still under the southeastern tip there of Breathitt County is the area that Peyton was just mentioning. And this is probably something that you've heard me say a few times already this morning. Where there's an uptick in lightning is an indication of the stronger part of the storm. But also where you have an uptick in lightning can often be another indicator of where we may have more of our rotation because we can get, not getting too technical here, but this is usually a zone that has been found where you can have your stronger updrafts, potentially where your greatest concentration of lightning is. And look what's happening here, right in this little zone, okay? So Ingle, Roosevelt, Wolf Cole, still seeing mainly a strong straight line wind potential here as opposed to what we were seeing just a short time ago. Let me show you our shear here. Still seeing it, okay? But do you notice how it's not one concentrated area? It's not one little circle, it's spots because the line, the storms, watch here, see how it's lining up, okay? So we for sure still have intense winds that are coming out of Breathitt County and now in the northern part of Perry County. So here's Hazard. Strongest part of this is well to the north of Hazard, all right? Northern part of the county here, closer to Buckhorn and rolling, or it's not east of Buckhorn, but it's moving now in these smaller communities you'll see here, Ingle and Dice, and here's Lamont. Strongest winds just behind that. So really Ned and Ingle and Lamont, and then eventually would come over toward Stacy and over toward Dice, and then from there eastbound. Now on the southern part of this line, you do see that it's still storming back into, this is into Leslie County, because here's Hyden, so the northern part of Leslie, and then it's still storming as we work our way back into Clay County, Burning Springs, heavy rain. But we do have on the tail end of this another severe thunderstorm warning back to the west, and this is going to be coming out of Pulaski, southern Rockcastle, but more into Laurel County. Do you see that little hook again? On the tail, we have to watch these on the bottom flank usually of your storm. The back southwest corner, you can get some rotation. Now, I mean, it's not super intense, but it's still something that we're looking at as this goes over time. This storm has a capability here in Laurel County to be producing winds that are up to 60, some gusts there. That severe thunderstorm warning for you till 9. Pulaski County to 9, Rockcastle County till 9, okay? But the strongest part of it where they issued the warning for is right in here. You see that? And I'll highlight it, and then I'll go back to the wind, and you can see that. This is the part of the storm that they issued this warning for. So it's really crossing out of Pulaski County now and moving over into Laurel County. Let me look at our home view camera down here in Somerset. We'll be looking toward the south, I believe. Yeah, the south. Peyton, can you spin that camera around? We'll do it like live.
Yeah, and I actually have some storm report updates for you. This looks like it's coming out of Livingston.
Okay.
A roof off of a house on Red Hill Road. And apparently the emergency manager has been contacted about possible tornado damage. So we'll see if that's what it is. Obviously, we know straight line winds can do just as bad of damage as well. But there is, we are starting to get some of those reports in down in Livingston. Let me try to turn that camera for you really quickly.
So what we're looking at here right now is from Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital. Even though the storms are just north in the northern part of Pulaski County, we'll be able to see a little bit more clear. See how things are brighter there? That's because we're looking away from the storm. All right, now we're looking into the storm here to the north. This is to the north, and this is the storm that's going through northern Pulaski and now is crossing over into Laurel County. Looking closely there, you can see what looks like a bit of a leading edge of this line of storms. Likely what we would say is more of a squall line on the leading edge of this, but you also see what looks like a little bit of lowering. It's kind of hard to tell there because it's a little ragged, but it also could be what we call scud clouds on the southern flank of this, okay? I want to go back to the radar. Thank you, Peyton, for moving that because I want to show this is where what we're looking at on the radar view, okay? This is going to be taking us back to the normal view. Let me exit out of that. This will take us back to the radar, to the home screen. All right, this is what we were looking at. See here? Our camera is here in Somerset, and we were looking toward this storm that's crossing out of Pulaski County and into Laurel County right now. I want to look back at the winds here. Bear with me as I get my bearings again on Storm Track tool. All right, so let's look at the wind inside there. All right, here we go. Right here we have some broad rotation right there on the county line. And I think this is what we were just looking at. What looked like a bit of a lowering in the distance, but it was still ragged because we were getting so far away from our camera. But they still have that warning, obviously, that has been kind of trimmed back. They've just updated that severe thunderstorm warning till 9:15 for Laurel County. So severe thunderstorm here, moving into the western part of Laurel County, right along Highway 80 here, or Howard Rogers Parkway, Cumberland Parkway here, Howard Rogers Parkway east of London. All right, so this is going to be toward Bernstadt. All right, and back off to the west where we have the strongest portion of that storm. So again, that's one part of the storm, and then the other one that we've been tracking all morning is this part of the storm here, this part of the line. It has been really intense for most of the morning, and this is up into now going out of Breathitt County. We'll go back to the radar view, and it's into, this is Perry, and this is Knott County here. So Jackson, it's clear. Remember, the strongest part of this whole line has always been staying south of Jackson. The strongest part of this storm is now in Perry County here, north of Hazard too. Here's Hazard, here's downtown Hazard, and it's north of that. All right, so Clemens, there's Dice. This is where we have a greater concentration of lightning too, Clemens. So heavy rain. Winds could be gusting up to 60, 70 miles an hour, coming through likely closer to 60 because it's gotten a little weaker, but this is where we have our strongest winds. And yes, there could still be a spin-up tornado. Seeing the winds, at least the rotation, a little weaker than it was earlier, but we could still see a spin-up tornado coming through the northern part of Perry County, and eventually it would track due east. It's been moving east. Over into, this is going to be Knott County. So you see the Barron Tornado Index. This is what we look at here, this BTI number. It's gone down. Earlier in Owsley County, it was at 6.4. That's basically on a scale from 0 to 10. The higher the number, the greater the potential there is for a tornado. The lower the number, the less likely there's a tornado. We're middle of the ground pretty much, 5.6. So we could still see a spin-up tornado coming through here. Dice, it's there now. I know that this is saying this, the timing is 1 minute from now. It's already been doing it. All right, it's already been raining, it's already been windy. Dwarf at 9. Down toward Hard-Burley, 902, Bearville at 904, Cary at 906. All right, so this is where we have the most intense part of the storm right now in Perry County, and it's moving due east here, okay? I want to show you a couple of other features. I want to look back at this debris detector. Not seeing really much in that same zone. If we look to try to match up, still seeing some of the reds. Again, radar's up here in Breathitt County behind our banner. So the warmer colors, the reds, are winds that are moving away from the radar, and the greens, lighter colors, are towards. So in this instance, the radar's up here. So the greens, the cooler shades, are going toward the radar, and the warmer shades of colors that are next to each other are going away. So opposite moving winds next to each other. Still not tight like it was, okay? Nothing like it was, which is why I've said that we've seen more of a transition over to straight line winds, but still could be doing some damage. And Peyton got that report earlier. Peyton, do you know what county that was in, that you had that damage report earlier?
Say that one more time.
Do you know what county that was that you
It
got
was
that?
Rockcastle County.
Yeah, Livingston, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
we're trying to get a crew heading that way.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll be able to get some information. That's what I was just speaking with our producers about.
Okay.
But that's the most significant report I've seen so far this morning. So,
Okay, that's good.
But apparently a roof completely ripped off a home there. So
In Rockcastle County. Well,
yeah,
you know what?
in Livingston.
As we go back, and you know what? We called that out earlier as it was, here's Rockcastle, look right here. Here's a report. This was Robinette, Kentucky. Let's see, it's Torpas report of a roof on a house on Red Hill Road in Livingston, Kentucky. Individual, I'm reading it, it's very tiny text here, so that's why I'm squinting to this TV. Individual contacted the county emergency manager about a possible tornado. Time estimated via radar, 7:48 this morning. Remember, we were telling you into Rockcastle County earlier, there was, yes, the potential for a tornado. We've been watching this. Let me show it to you. Watch this. This is a 1-hour stretch. Look at this, Peyton, as we go back over time, just showing our viewers how that, look at that, lining up exactly where that damage report was. There's Janetta near the Livingston area, Cooksburg. We were calling all of these out. Right through here is where that roof damage was. And if you keep tracking that, look what happened. We went to the Loam community. We went to Dango. We went over into Jackson County here. And this here was Hurley. And then it went over toward Atkinstown. And then it kept working its way east toward, as we mentioned earlier, Island City. And then after Island City, to our current standpoint, it has not been as intense. Yes, these are some additional storms out ahead of this, but if I go to the current rotation product right now, a whole lot less, okay? Yep, still some strong storms here. Could still have some rotation on the front edge of this, but I think by looking at the data, I think this is more of a straight line wind event right now, crossing out. Here's Perry County, here's Hazard. Right along this entire line here, you see how we have less reds showing up? So that's less of winds going in an opposite direction next to each other. It's more uniform. That would be more of a straight line wind event. But again, as Peyton mentioned earlier, and I've been mentioning, still can get some damage. I mean, you can get trees down, you can get barns, roofs, or homes that get damaged from winds that are 60+ miles per hour. So that's why they've continued this warning and will. So Hyman, Pippa Passes, this is coming your way. Even still some strong winds going through Hazard at the moment. So kind of getting to more of our point here where we're going more linear and along the line. But look at this. Anytime you see this little signature on the radar, this bit of a notch that's showing up back off to the west here, and this is the storm we were looking at from our home view a little bit earlier coming through London. See, there's a little bit of an inflow here. It's how it looks. If we look at the wind, it's kind of matching up with that same area. So right in this zone, there could definitely be for sure some straight line winds, maybe 50, 60 miles an hour, which is why we still have that warning for Laurel County till 9:15. All right, Peyton, what I'm going to do real quick here is I'm going to reset this just on a whole view. If I can get the thing to go back. There we go. This is the whole view for everybody because we haven't done this in a long time. And a lot of people here to the north are like, well, what's happening here and what's about to come to my home? We still have several flash flood warnings, okay, to the north. I know that, and we're going to be looking more in that. We've seen some secondary roads that are into portions of Menifee, Powell, even parts of Estill, even parts of Bath and Montgomery, and even into Rowan County, and up into portions of even Morgan and Elliott County, where some of those secondary roads are covered, even if it's just a little bit of water. I heard from my uncle earlier. He lives here just east and outside of Georgetown, and he has a little stream, a little creek that runs through their property, and he said he's never seen the water that high. And it's small creek, small stream creek, but it's out of its banks, okay? So we have had torrential rain, but as of late, we've had a whole lot of rain. So as that quick reset here, storms to the south, none to the north. Lexington, Frankfort, Georgetown, Danville, Richmond, Mount Sterling, Paris, Carlisle, Flemingsburg. All of these areas, severe threat, done, over, clear. No rain right now at all up here. Good. We don't want any more. We need a break from it. We need flooding. We need waters to go down, okay? Where the storms are now, from Russell, Pulaski, Laurel, Clay, down into Perry County, and from there over into Knott County, Floyd, up into portions of Johnson, Martin, and Pike, okay? This is going to take another couple of hours, but the intensity of these storms are going down. Still some strong winds here and still some severe weather, some stronger straight line winds. Do you have anything anymore on any damage reports that they were saying? Are they still keeping that on a tornado tag and any of these tornado possible?
That's what I've seen so far. Let's see. The latest one still has tornado possible on it, and then the wind threat up to 60 miles per hour, Justin, and then also the chance for some small hail, so not really significant. They have trimmed back those severe thunderstorm warnings, so that just appeared just now. I want to show you here too. Look at all of this lightning in northern portions of Perry and into Knott County. And while lightning doesn't necessarily make a storm severe, it oftentimes indicates how strong the storm is. So it's one of the things we look at as we're forecasting. And it is just a light show in portions of Perry back into Knott County. If you're around Hindman, just north of Hazard, you're probably hearing a lot of thunder and things as well out there. So that's an indication that this is still a pretty strong storm out in portions of eastern Kentucky. Of course, we're still watching this one down towards London as well, regardless of if there's a tornado or not, which at this point we don't seem to think there is, but there's still the threat for damaging winds and very heavy rainfall. Not as much lightning with this, so maybe we're seeing some signs of weakening, which is some good news with this storm here. Want to go ahead and take a look at some of the velocity. And again, if there is any rotation, it's very broad and just to the west of London where those reds and greens come together. So even though we don't think there is necessarily a tornado here, if this couplet tightens up at all, that's definitely still a possibility. So we'll continue to watch that as the morning goes on. But if you're along Hal Rogers Parkway from just to the west of London and then along Hal Rogers Parkway and points eastward, you still want to be prepared for a storm that could cause some damage out there. We'll slide a little further to the north and show you what we're seeing with that storm in portions of Perry and Knott County. And the good news with this one is not seeing any rotation on radar. However, we're still seeing the threat for some damaging winds, especially Hindman back towards Pipapassis. If you're down towards Vico, Hazard, still windy, but the strongest winds look to be out ahead of where you are at this point. So still watching that up in those areas right now as well. We'll take a wider view of everything going on, and those are the only severe warnings we have at this point. The one for portions of Laurel County and then also Knott and Perry counties at this point. So we'll see if they keep this going. Again, the only rotation I was seeing at all, Justin, was just to the west of London, but even that was very broad in nature. But they are continuing that tornado possible tag on it, so we'll see what they decide to do with that. Latest scan, I want to see if I can go back really quickly here, because the latest scan on that, we'll see if that rotation looks any more impressive. It still looks fairly broad. It's not as tight as what some of the couplets we were seeing earlier, but we'll continue to watch that, Justin, just to the west of London there. Any updates from you?
Looking here still at scouring social media here, because viewers often send pictures and whatnot. I want to look at our camera, our home view camera again. Down to the south in Somerset, and the reason I want to do that is because we have another storm that's starting to nudge back in there right along this line. Right now, this is going to be taking us down to Somerset. Look at this, just a wall of water coming in as we're looking. This one's actually looking more toward the storm that's going to be just off to the north of town, and the one that's going back as we go back to the radar, you'll see here, this is the one that's going to be passing over toward out of Pulaski over into Laurel County. They may allow this warning to expire here into Laurel County. They've not extended it. They've not talked about extending it. Really, the strongest storm, as Peyton mentioned, and it's really, to be honest, lost its intensity of rotation, I should say. It's lost its rotation, more of a straight line wind threat, still going out of Perry and running right into Knott County. I mean, there is tons of lightning here that's showing up, and it's coming into Hindman. Heavy rain, frequent flashes of lightning, and even though, as Peyton mentioned earlier, that lightning does not technically, in the definition, make a thunderstorm severe, you need either winds 58 miles an hour or stronger, or hail to the size of quarters, which is an inch, roughly an inch in diameter. Either of those categorize a storm as severe. Now, more lightning does indicate that a storm is intense, that's for sure, but by itself doesn't make a storm severe. This uptick, though, does show, if we look at the wind here, still inside the storm, looking out of Jackson, we'll look into the storm that's just out of there. Still really intense. We could be looking, if I clear this off, I'm going to turn off the lightning because we have so much data on here. You have new information?
Yeah, there's a new warning now for portions of Pulaski County, northern Wayne County, and back into McCreary and Whitley counties and Laurel counties as well. So it's this storm. It's crossing over parts of the lake right now. So it's just to the southwest of Somerset and just to the southwest of Ferguson, working in the direction of Burnside. So right along the Lake Cumberland region at this point, just south of Cumberland Parkway, but just north of Route 90. So if you're familiar with those areas, about to cross over 27 in between Somerset and Burnside. So if you're in central to southern portions of Pulaski County, be on the lookout for this one. That goes until 9:45. I am trying to look and see if the Weather Service, sorry, I'm stepping out of frame here, trying to look and see if the Weather Service has put a tornado possible tag on this one, Justin. Not sure yet. I'm trying to pull it up. If there is any rotation with this, though, it would be right in here. But it's still, again, it's still pretty broad. It's not that significant at this point.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to watch that, but just wanted to get that out there for our viewers. I'm also going to try to turn our Somerset camera and see if we can get a view on this one right now, Justin.
Okay, I was looking at that too. I'm trying to look at our vantage point here toward that storm, looking more to the south and southwest of town. This is one storm here. Let me step off and put my phone down here. Tracking several warnings. Looks like here they're not extending the warning out of London yet, but the reason they're staying with the warning of the storm that's up here in Knott County, that storm still has some of the most intense winds, at least straight line winds. Again, that in itself can still do some damage here. Some gusts there that have been close to 60 or closer a little bit earlier, not seeing it at least as intense right now. Looking for any rotation, not finding nearly as much as what we had earlier. I can pixel query this and just kind of give you a little indication of, again, 42 mile per hour potential wind gusts out of this, 42. So that would be a little weaker than at least severe thunderstorm criteria. But again, that's the radar detecting that. We could still get some stronger wind gusts closer to the surface out of that storm. The one that Peyton was just mentioning that we were looking at our camera down to the south, here's Somerset and Ferguson and Burnside, just west of there. Our camera view is going to be able to give us a little better picture. Here's Lexington, here's Somerset at that storm. Peyton, you moved that a little bit. Are we looking at that portion of the storm? I'm trying to get bearings which direction we're looking here. All right, so our camera sits on top of Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital there in Somerset. So just in town, we're looking at, again, we're kind of split here because there are two storms. There's one that's to the south, west of the city, and there's one that's also to the north of the city right now. If we go back to the radar, you'll see what I'm talking about here. That to the north, there's the one storm that is departing that is now moving really over here, eastern part of Pulaski County over into Laurel County. But the one that's really the strongest is this part here, which is why they've issued a warning. It includes Burnside here. That's till 9:45. It does not actually include downtown Somerset at all. It stays just to the south of that. Southern part of Pulaski County, we could be looking at winds on the order of there that may be gusting up of 60. They're still putting a tornado possible on that. There is broad rotation here on the back edge of this storm that is still rolling its way off to the east. And the leading edge of this, Peyton, did they say what the forward movement of that storm is?
I'm looking right now. Let's see.
It's probably close to 50 like the others.
Yeah, they're all pretty much around the same. This 45 miles per hour is what it looks like.
All right.
For this one.
So moving east, that strongest portion of the storm where we could see, again, strong winds, but maybe a brief tornado that could spin up right now. It's on Burnside. We've been talking about that. Omega 917, Bower 922, Mount Victory 925, Sawyer 929, and Bald Rock at 932. And sure enough, we talked about, would they do it? Are they watching it closely? And absolutely they were. Were they going to extend the warning up here in Laurel County? And they have. This warning now goes over into portions of Clay County. You see here, 945. So that's another extension that goes basically from right on top of London here, and it moves east. So near London and south of there, I'm trying to clear this one box off so we can get this storm track off so we can start a new storm track here. It's south of London, in London, and just points to the southeast is where we have really the kind of the most and strongest portion, maybe of some straight line winds that are moving through that part of Laurel County. Off to the east, though, Peyton, look, they did extend this warning too. And this is part for the entire part of the storm that we've been watching that's going through Knott County right now with some gusts that I mentioned a little bit earlier that are running at about 50 to 60 miles an hour, likely could even gust over 60. It's on top of Hindman. It's going toward Pippa Passes, and then from there it'll be going outside of our viewing area. It'll be going over into Pike County and into Letcher County. So once it clears out of Hindman, this part of the storm is outside of our viewing area, but we can put a track on the front edge of this whole line. It too is moving east. This isn't going to let me, I'm not far enough zoomed out to be able to stretch this out about 50 miles an hour. That's going to be putting that toward Defiance. Can move that into your screen. Looks like it was on Defiance now, over toward Buckingham 914, Kodak at 915, and Burton at 916. So that's the warning that's going through Knott County and over. Eventually will go into Pike County down the line. I mean, this whole line has just been showing signs all morning that yes, it was getting stronger, but some other portions of the line have gotten weaker. But good news across central Kentucky and points north. Once this clears your area to the south, you're done. And it looks like that's going to be happening. Let me take you out the next 2 hours. Watch this. Future radar takes the current product, watch it move east. I'll hit play. This is a great product that we have here. Moves east. So 2 hours from now, the back edge of this cluster of storms that's near Burnside moves east and should be out of our viewing area or very close to it by about 11 o'clock fully. Now behind that, we have the chance to bring back in some more showers a little bit later on today, but as it stands right now, that's what we have ongoing. Thankfully, though, this will be ending, and this is not going to be an all-day event, Peyton. Not at all.
Yeah,
much
that's
better
some good
weather
news.
later.
Yeah, that's some good news for sure. Looking at just all three warnings we have going here, well, actually more than that, but for the three storms that are warned at this point. Still watching the one down towards Lake Cumberland, just south of Somerset, working through Burnside right now as we speak. We still have this stronger one that is now working out of Laurel County. It's still raining heavily in portions of Laurel County, but the strongest portion moving out of Laurel County and eventually over into portions of Clay County. And then as Justin was mentioning, Knott County back over into Pike and Letcher counties, that storm. So it's moving out of the viewing area right now as we speak. But the one over in Knott County near Hindman at this point is the one that still has a lot of that lightning. We were talking about earlier how lightning oftentimes can signify how intense the storm is. So Hindman, Pippa Passes, if you're over towards Wheelwright, and then eventually into portions of Letcher and southern Pike counties. Just be on the lookout as this is working off to the east. But again, it's starting to work out of the viewing area. We still have the one working into portions of Laurel and Clay County. Heavy rainfall regardless. Gusty winds definitely likely with this. I'll go ahead and turn on the velocity on this one. Good news is not seeing any tight rotation or anything like that at this point with the latest scan. So that's some good news. We now have a flash flood warning over those same areas that just popped up. So if you're in portions of Clay County back into northern Laurel County, this does include London, Manchester, and Burning Springs now under a flash flood warning. So watching for, we've been saying that all of these storms have the potential for torrential rainfall and the potential for some flooding. I'm going to leave the velocity on. If there's any more significant rotation, and again, it's not very significant, but if there is any that we're watching closely, it's right over Burnside right now where these reds and greens come together. That's why the Weather Service has been putting a tornado possible tag on these storms and with these severe thunderstorm warnings, because even though there's not significant rotation we're seeing right now, there's the possibility that if this red and green couplet here tightens up, that's right over Burnside at this point, there could be a quick spin up tornado. So again, that's right in here. So if you're in the Burnside area, I would go ahead and get into your safe spot just to be safe, just because you never know when this could tighten up very quickly and be a quick spin-up tornado, regardless dealing with damaging winds and very heavy rainfall. So keep that in mind. And again, we have the flash flood warning in effect as well. So just a lot going on across the area. These flash flood warnings are mainly impacting those smaller creeks and streams. We've seen that throughout the morning because we still have those flash flood warnings in effect for northeastern parts of Kentucky, including Sandy Hook, West Liberty, Moorhead, Mount Sterling, and Stanton. And that's from a few hours ago. So those are still in effect for those areas from those smaller creeks and streams, just the water coming out of the banks in those areas. So that's definitely still a possibility as the morning goes on. The most intense wind we're seeing, though, still looks to be in portions of Knott County, now about to cross over into Letcher County. So that's why they've extended that warning. So about to exit our viewing area, but still continuing to watch a dangerous two dangerous storms now in portions of Clay and Laurel counties, and then also back into, it's mainly in southern Pulaski County at this point, but eventually working into southern Laurel counties and northern parts of Whitley County. So that goes until 9:45, Justin. Have you seen any updated reports from the Weather Service? Been trying to keep an eye on that. I know we had the one in Rockcastle County earlier.
So the overall trend in the last little bit has been for at least the rotation part of the storms to get a little weaker and be more into what we would call the straight line winds. And we've seen that just really within the last 30 minutes to an hour. Still some very broad rotation with some of these storms down to the south here, south of Somerset, and then rolling over toward London, and still some of those stronger storms east. Not honestly, we haven't had any more reports of any damage coming along the southern extent of any of this, which is good. I mean, we don't want any damage clearly anywhere. I have the storm reports turned on. That's what we're seeing. See these little dots? That's indicating where there would be any types of damage reports. I think we're going to do a quick little recap, and then we're going to go to live from Chevy Chase, and then we'll have a newscast wrap up for you again at 9:30 with these storms as they continue to work their way east. The ones off to the east, as Peyton mentioned a moment ago, coming out of Hyman right now, still severe here, but that's going to be crossing. It's about to cross out of our viewing area. Letcher County, Pike County, even southern Floyd County starts to move outside of our viewing area. We have the potential with this to produce still some straight line winds, maybe gusts up to 60 for sure, heavy rain. There's a new track. We'll just do that since we're talking about it. Kites now will right, so you're getting over here into southern parts of, that's going to be over right on the tip of southern tip of Floyd County here. And then you get over to Elwood, and you're getting over eventually here into Pike County. That's going to be Wheelwright Junction, 925, and Weeksbury at 926. So we'll clear that one off. That one's moving out. That one, yes, still is severe. But winds on that storm still packing a punch. Back to the west, still some just rain and storms in Hazard and in Hyden right now. But that is not a severe storm. Actually, not even a ton of lightning with that left. We still have the severe thunderstorm going for portions of Laurel County, but really the strongest part now is in Clay. That's to 945. And then the last and final one is down here toward Burnside, and still here 945 expiration on a severe thunderstorm. If you look inside of it, there still is some very broad rotation. Winds inside of that, we can pixel that. They're running on the order. This is only showing, let me switch products, different wind product, and that'll give us a little bit better indication. Very weak, okay? So things are getting a little weaker, still some strong storms and a few severe thunderstorm warnings that will continue to track throughout the morning. Again, a full update coming for you on the storms again at 9:30. So that's about 10 minutes from now. But now, right over to Live from Chevy Chase.